So that just happened. Hey, everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks initial reaction video. Today, my co-hosts are Hal. How's it going?
Hey, Cameron, how's it going, man?
It's going. We also have Chaz here.
Hey, Cameron.
Wow, what a day. We began it with doing sort of like a 5-hour countdown to the finale, and then we watched the two-part finale, and now we're here recording again. It has been quite a long day of Twin Peaks, I have to say.
My head is spinning.
The world is spinning.
The world spins in my head.
So, okay, well, there's a lot to discuss here, right?
Really? I don't see anything. What's to discuss?
I don't think this is going to be one of our short initial reaction videos. Just got to say that.
Makes perfect sense to me. I don't see anything to discuss about it.
Yeah, it was a masterpiece. Good night, everybody. Okay, so reaction, as you can imagine. I mean, the moment the credits were rolling, you already knew what the reaction was going to be, right? It's going to be 1/3, this was very good to great, and 2/3, what a crock of crap. And that's what I'm seeing right now. I mean, who knows? Maybe tomorrow will be something different. But
yeah, there's a lot of visceral hate reactions. I'm more in the I'm confused and there must be more to come reaction.
Okay, so let's before we discuss all the episodes, there's a couple things I want to address. One, wow, I cannot believe that people were right. I mean, they didn't know, but they were telling me at the time of when that footage dropped, and I can talk about it now, of Cooper and Cheryl Lee outside the Palmer house going up to the door and her screaming. That was indeed the final scene of this limited series that Lynch and Frost and Company shot in front of an entire neighborhood of people watching. Yeah. So do you think now, so when that scene got dropped on TMZ and then they went on lockdown afterwards, it's fascinating to me because for a long time I was telling people there's no way they're going to shoot the final scene of the show in front of an entire neighborhood of people. And they did. So some people may think that that this ending is sort of a trolling ending in some ways. I think in a much bigger way, Lynch and Frost trolled the spectators there because they've actually known and seen the ending of this show for at least a year and a half and not know it. That's rather amusing to me. Second of all, if you were to ask me earlier today, earlier this week, I would have said no to season 4 just because of, again, the whole buildup of how long it took them to craft this series. And I just can't see them turning around for another season next year. We talked about having the movies on Showtime or maybe a 6-episode series or whatever. But then I started talking to you about how Showtime has, everybody from in the production to the actors, even the bit parts, even if you have one line, if you want to interview them, you have to go through Showtime to get them on board. No company does that for like bit players where you got to check in with your, the publicity department and stuff like with. So that started putting up some flags to me like, they are holding this very close to their chest, like very close. And so I started getting the vibe that there might be something more. And after this ending, after this Sam Raimi Evil Dead 2 ending, where we don't know what year we are in now, I don't think there's going to be another 18-hour-long movie, but you can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be at least a 6-episode series or two movies that they're going to make. There's no way. And I know, Chaz, you're going to say you're fine with it ending the way it is. And I understand that because it is a Lynchian type of ending. But the reaction of this, I'm curious to see, because there's going to be enough interest for people people to want to see a continuation. But if Showtime is gauging initial reactions, I don't know if we're going to get it. So I hope it does happen. I would like to see something, and I feel like for the first 75 minutes of this 2 hour, or it was 2 parts, but whatever, of the 2 hours, it seemed like we were building towards not necessarily just a happy ending, but a conclusion of sort.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lynch pulled the Mulholland Drive Inland Empire thing, where he, started flipping realities and that type of thing. So what was kind of like moving forward all of a sudden came to like a halt, and then we had to kind of reorganize and reinterpret what we were seeing for the next 45 minutes. I was so into the show, though, that I didn't even realize that there's no mention of Audrey. We never went back to that. And a lot of other things, the mother, the box, the New York thing, or that's just off the top of my head. So yeah, there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot still left open, and I don't think there's enough in some of these parts for us to infer what this could mean or that could mean. So there's enough holes in there where, yes, I think that there is room to move forward if Showtime and Lynch and Frost decide to move forward. We did get what I considered the bittersweet happy ending. Laura is back. Cooper is out of the lodge, but now they're displaced again. Is it future? Is it past? It's kind of, they don't even know what year they're in. And, and then bringing in the Tremans and the Chalfonts again, which I know you love, Chaz, from the Fire Walk With Me thing. So, I'm going to say right now, initial reaction, I really, really, really liked about 75 to 80% of this. The rest of it, it's not that I didn't like it. I need to go back and really look at it. I have to say I'm not too keen with that whole Cooper and Diane and the motel stuff. That to me is too much Lost Highway, Inland Empire, and that's not what I want in the last half hour of my Twin Peaks. But I'll go back and look at it. Yeah, I think it does. Do we need it to continue? No, I'd like it to continue just because there is a lot of stuff that's still left to explore, especially if you're going to leave Audrey like that at the end of part 16. Yeah. So anyway, let me throw it to you, because I'm babbling. Your initial reaction before we discuss minutia details.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much where you're at. I was psyched for, like you said, it seemed to be hurtling towards a conclusion of sorts, and some things seemed expected, like, we kind of expected Freddy with the green hand to fulfill his destiny and be play a big role in the resolution, which he did on some level. But then, like you said, it veers off into the long car drive and into inexplicable territory, and the Tremonts and the Chalfonts and all the unanswered questions with Audrey, and is that what we're left with? Is that everything changed and that's it? That's unsatisfying to me on a lot of levels, yet it's undeniably Lynchian. And if he wants us to ponder it another 25 years or ponder it till our graves or his grave, then so be it. But it didn't ruin the whole experience for me on any level. I've enjoyed the whole ride, but I feel the same way as I did after season 2 ended. There must be more. There has to be some more.
I agree. All right, Chaz, hit us.
Yeah. So Hal touched on a lot of the things that I feel, because I always approach Lynch stuff with knowing how Lynch does things. And so I never, ever expected there to be any kind of sweet wrap up or anything. So I always have these certain expectations for Lynch that I'm always expecting it to be, I have to think about it for a long time. Right. And so I do agree that the long drive was a little long, I guess.
But it was building up tension.
It was, and then it paid off when you see Double R. It's like it was beautiful. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, and how we were talking earlier tonight of things we didn't want, and we were recounting when we saw the last episode of season 2, and when you had the banker just walking across the room for 10 minutes. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, the scene totally works, but when you're watching the finale of a show and you're checking the clock every 3 seconds as he's walking across the floor. Okay, Chaz, I understand, but what I'm saying is the drive to me played the same way.
We did the same thing. We were checking the clock, weren't we? I know I was.
I wasn't.
I was like, they have 20 minutes to go, and Cooper is boiling guns in a diner.
I mean, I just go along with what Lynch does because I know I'm in his hands. There's certain Lynch is an exception. There's certain directors that I'll get frustrated with because I can, right? With Lynch, I don't. I know his filmography like in and out. But
what I'm saying though is there was no buildup at all to this. Again, this is initial reactions, right?
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch it. We'll see it a number of times. I'm just saying there's no buildup to Cooper just wanting to get with Diane at all. It just kind of, I mean, she comes out and then all of a sudden they start kissing, and then they're taking off in a car, and then they're in the motel. And I know people in the chat are already screaming that they weren't Cooper and Diane having sex. It was actually Richard and Linda.
Yeah.
Okay. Again,
but he didn't seem to know that.
No. And
I don't think either of them knew what was going on. I mean, she's covering his face. He's like expressionless.
Right. And then because when they first crossed over, you know, it seemed like they were crossing over into another like time dimension. But then when he picked up, was her name Carrie or something, that didn't happen at all. I kept waiting on the drive for them to cross back over into something, but they never did. So that could be a clue as well that because obviously the Chalfants and the Tremans didn't own the Palmer house. So they may have crossed. Okay, now I'm thinking that maybe them crossing over and not kind of resetting it, that maybe this is another explanation why there's all these time shifts in this series, that, you know, the world is still amuck. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, we didn't get anything with Red, nothing with Becky, and that thing was completely dropped. It's really interesting. Just from, you know, studying film, and this is a fascinating thing, but to a lot of people, and again, I'll discuss what I feel about it, but I can understand right now why so many fans are upset. Doesn't mean that, you know, they won't come around eventually, or maybe we'll come closer to them on rewatches. I don't know, but I get it. Because when you invest 18 hours and even longer, they spend all summer watching this thing. I think they were thinking when Laura is in the woods and says, "Where are we going?" and Cooper says, "Home," and I'm practically bursting into tears at this moment. Yeah. I'm thinking, okay, this is where the TMZ leak comes in. He takes her home. No, I got an hour and 15 minutes to go before that happens. And it's not even Laura. It's Carrie something as Laura. I don't know. But anyway,
I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, I loved it. I loved the fact, and I loved. We'll get into it, but I love the fact that they utilized that Fire Walk With Me footage. Yes. And they made Cooper the reason why Laura screams in that scene.
Yes.
And that was very much a Back to the Future Part 2 type of thing, where it's like, okay, we're going to go back and, you know, Marty looked to the right in this scene, so we'll have him over here in Part 2. It was really good. It was really good stuff. And I love the fact that Jack Nance coming out and the body's not there and he's fishing and everything.
He just fishes, yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's so great. Yeah. So what I'm saying is we're building and building and building. And then I got to tell you, it's just the last 25 minutes or so, I'm sitting there, and it's not like, I understand Lynch just pulls the rug out and does different things. I'm not criticizing that. I'm criticizing the fact is that in that moment, I really don't care what's going on at all because I'm time displaced myself. Cooper's not acting like Cooper. All of a sudden, Diane's the love interest. No mention of Annie or anything like that, which is where I feel like he would be in his mind, considering that he just got out of the lodge and he went in there to get Annie.
Didn't you think Annie was going to be the waitress at Judy's?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was my local girl, Francesca, who lives about 10 minutes away from me. So now that the show's aired, maybe I don't know, it'd be great to get her on the show. But anyway, I just feel like we were heading towards something, and then Lynch and Frost decided to give us something else. But I think that something else is there to take a potential continuation to have a story, because if they closed it out entirely, then there would be nowhere to go for another 6 episodes and a standalone movie on Showtime or whatever. And Frost keeps saying, I mean, back in whatever it was, 2012 or so, when they were doing the UCLA showings and someone asked them about Twin Peaks and he says it's a continuing story. Okay, from this, yeah, it still is, there's no conclusion. It's still a continuing story. And I guess it depends on us if they're going to continue. I mean, it might not be Lynch that continues it, but they might open it up and bring in Leslie Lincoln Glatter, who, you know, works on Homeland and directed a number of the first couple seasons on Twin Peaks. I mean, they could bring in some Tim Hunter. They could bring in other people to direct another season. It doesn't have to be Lynch.
Or maybe the point is, why is Mark Frost's book so different than the continuity that we knew from seasons 1 and 2? Is because the things have changed, you know. Things have changed. Everything changes, and it's a constant circular. It continues to change. There is no resolution because it's constantly being made different. So there is no ending.
And that's Lynch. I mean, that's what he would do.
Stephen Clark says this was Twin Peaks: The Return, not Twin Peaks: The Conclusion. Amateur Video Scholar says, if it's over, it's okay. Cooper is still in purgatory, searching for justice and truth, as we all are. Interesting.
Right.
I just can't believe that they shot the final scene of the entire thing in front of an entire neighborhood of people with cameras, shooting video, Kyle in between takes, coming over, signing autographs, that type of thing. And there was I'm sure it was just kind of like a key grip or something like that, you know. But do you remember there was that shot? Did you see that footage, Hal?
Yeah.
Okay. There was that shot of them on the sidewalk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when Cooper holds out his hand, in the background, it looks like there's like some hobgoblin, jumping man demon or something that's crawling under a bush. And, I'm sure it was, just someone behind the scenes or that, but it sure looked demonic to me.
The stray woodsman got in the shot by accident.
Right. Either that or the, jumping man was, a cutaway shot. I don't know. Because he did make an appearance on the staircase.
Yep.
Now, Chaz, have you been watching all the? Have you seen the teasers that Showtime releases for? No. Okay.
No.
I would say about 90% of the footage that they've shown in the teasers all came from these last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and Lynch approved all that, or he even cut some himself. And even though there's even a shot from when Cooper's on the in the front door of the Palmer house. There's a shot from that in the teaser.
No, I haven't seen him.
Yeah, so fascinating. Okay, are we ready to dive in?
Let's go.
Let's do this. We got 232 people watching us live. Thank you.
All right.
Just remember that this is not the official main channel. This is my streaming channel because I can't live stream on my main channel. But if you go to Obnoxious and Anonymous on YouTube, the main channel, subscribe there. Also, I have the VidMe account, which is where I'm uploading all the videos in case YouTube has a problem with anything that are on these videos. Okay. So Hal, I got a little scared when these 2 episodes began with Rancho Rosa in black and white with some red. I was like, oh, good Lord.
I got excited because I love those episodes, and it did pay off. It was
well, you're
sure got my fill.
Your God of Light guy did not come back tonight.
No, he did not.
So there goes the beanie and the cigarette. For you, I mean. So these episodes, the first one was called "The Past Dictates the Future." The second one was called "What Is Your Name?" All right, so we begin in Buckhorn, South Dakota, and we have Cole and Albert and Tammy in there. God, it feels like a lifetime ago, this scene, doesn't it? And Cole starts admitting to Albert that he's been holding back something. And I was like, wow, this is how you get rid of a lot of exposition real quick.
I also like the fact that he said he just couldn't do it. He couldn't shoot Diane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Albert says you're getting soft in your old age. He goes, not where it counts, bud. Right. That was great.
Yeah. I'm sure that prostitute can attest to that.
Just get some red shoes.
But it is moving though.
Viagra when you got red shoes.
It is moving though when he says I just couldn't do it. It was moving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he talks about Major Briggs, Jeffries, Cooper, and Zhao Day, which is Judy. Now, is Zhao Day, that's just a code word, right?
I thought it was, I interpreted it as just some sort of ancient term for that force that just over the years has been, Americanized into Judy.
So are we suggesting, that that's Mother?
Yeah, that's the way I read it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Chow Day.
I'm chowed.
Chow Day.
Yeah. Well, I haven't eaten all day, so
I know, man. I wolfed down pizza in between when we ended the last video and before it started. And I was like wolfing it down. I'm going, man, no break between episodes. I'm like wolfing down.
He says, Cooper tells him, if I'm ever lost, do everything you can to find me, or I disappear, do everything you can to find me. Two birds with one stone, throws that out. Right? So, right. Okay, since we didn't go back to the giant and the fireman, as of right now, I'm going to assume, and I know assuming makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm going to assume that Cooper saw the fireman or a giant when Dougie was in the coma. So it's the only time that he would have to talk to him, right? I mean, he wouldn't be just buzzing around from the Black Lodge to the White Lodge back and forth for 25 years, would he?
I don't know. It's like time is so displaced that it could all be happening simultaneously for all we know.
Okay. Well, I mean, it works either way, but I mean, we're trying to figure out a timeline for some of this.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting?
That may be an exercise in futility with this series.
Good luck.
You know what scares me? Now that I'm thinking about it, what if all the stuff we see in Twin Peaks in this entire series is all the stuff that happens under the new timeline?
Well, I don't know about new timeline.
Well, I'm saying the timeline that Cooper just created.
Okay.
Because even though he said, what year is this? There's no real evidence that they are back in time. They could be in a modern time, but they could be in the alternate reality.
Right.
Well, I mean, I had been thinking that throughout the series, all of these little blips at the roadhouse, these conversations that lead to nowhere, and some of the scenes at the Double R that just kind of are random were just kind of happening. Like, you're not sure. I never thought they were going to amount to anything during the series. So I think that has something to do with what Lynch is saying. And I said this from the beginning. Lynch is also making a big statement on television and how you watch television, because he's, one, pissed off about what happened before. And then also he's smart enough to go ahead and know that Twin Peaks was a huge television show. So he's kind of giving you that like changing of channels. And so I think that the timeline for him, it doesn't really matter. He's just boom, like flicking channels, and then you have a story that's going on.
But that's the Lynch. You're saying that's the Lynch of today. That's not the Lynch of 1990 and 1986 and stuff.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
But it kind of is, though, because he was doing that with the soap opera. What the hell is it called?
Invitation to Love.
Thank you. I mean,
but that wasn't a real show. I mean, that's a show they were watching on TV that was spoofing Twin Peaks. You know?
Why wouldn't Lynch not spoof his own show?
I don't think this is a spoof.
No. The whole show is not a spoof.
Right.
Those scenes, though, he could be making a statement about that. I mean, I still think The Box is a obvious representation on him saying, this is you watching Twin Peaks, and this is what you expect. And guess what? It's not going to happen.
Although he did come out, not to poo-poo your point, Chaz, but he did come out and say, because an interviewer, there was an interview with him. I think Entertainment Weekly did it or something after the first 4 aired, and he said that is The Box a metaphor for how we watch TV, and you know the weird things come out of the box, you know, and we're left to sort it out in our heads. He goes, no, you know, that's not what I intended, but it's interesting that you say that, but that was not his intention. It's just a box.
Okay, first of all, he's not going to ever tell you what he's thinking.
But when asked pointedly, you know, he did say no. He didn't say,
but he would say no anyway. I mean, even if he meant that.
You're probably right, yeah.
I mean, come on. The opening credits of Fire Walk With Me is one of the most obvious references of this is not the TV show anymore. But you think you're going to get Lynch to admit that? No. So yeah. All right, let's move on here. I really liked learning that that Ray was a paid informant for the FBI. That actually answers a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
I really like that. Obviously, it put it in perspective why Ray. It's almost like, in a way, Ray, obviously allowed himself to. Do you think he allowed himself, and it was arranged for him to be in the prison to kind of lure the doppelganger that way? Or do you think, well, he was a paid informant and then he just got picked up because he's a sleazeball anyway?
I don't know.
It's probably the second. But he says that the doppelganger was looking for the coordinates. Yeah. I love when we go back to the hospital and the FBI is talking to Gordon Cole and then Bushnell's like, "Is that Cole? Let me talk to him on the phone." And that's a really cute moment. And
that was great.
And
he thanked him. Yeah. He said, he asked him what his name was. He said, "What's your name?" Right.
And then we find out that the 253 adds to 10 the number to completion. Okay, there's a lot of 253s and 430s through this whole thing, but there was another one. Yeah, I really liked it when Bushnell had the phone and the FBI was like, the guy was like trying to get it back, and he just kept, his hand kept going further and further closer to the Bushnell kept going like that. Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, we're moving at a pace here. I loved Tammy and Albert telling Cole about Dougie, and that was just great. I mean, it's just like everything was just coming together at this point, you know?
Yeah, it was all dovetailing together. It was all like, all the pieces were falling into place.
And fans are getting excited and happy because we're moving forward. And I think we were all that way for about a good 75 minutes, and then whoosh. Okay. Anyway, we cut to the sheriff's station, and we have Chad, and I'm gonna just call him Zombie. I don't know what he's in the credits, but
nobody knows who that guy is. I don't think.
Yeah,
I still don't.
Sore face.
Yeah, I still don't think it's Billy. You know, a lot of people were speculating that, but I don't think so.
Right, and then again, there is this entire first hour. I was grabbing my couch. I was just like, it was so intense. And and I couldn't believe that they were holding this tension, because like Chad's in the jail cell, and then it cuts to the electricity and the power lines, and we're cutting between that and Naito and the zombie guy, and we know the doppelganger is getting closer because he's driving. Then we're cutting back to the electrical wires. It's just getting so intense. That was just great tension. And again, we got another Freddie and James when they're in the cell. We got another what the hell.
Yeah.
That's definitely, after this two-parter, that's definitely the motto for this series here.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the whole series. What the hell?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they should have called it, Twin Peaks, instead of the Twin Peaks: The Return. Twin Peaks. What the hell?
Exactly. Then we cut to the Great Northern Hotel, and Ben gets word that Jerry is actually in Wyoming. So that explains, right? So that explains where he was when he saw Richard burn up. Now, is it my understanding that the Richard and Linda that they talk about in the letter, that is not Richard Horn? That maybe that Richard Horn was just another Richard and was kind of almost a red herring to what this Richard and Linda is?
Seemingly,
right?
That's what I thought as well. Yeah.
I'm thinking, that the scene with the giant had to have been at another time, because when he says Richard and Linda, he goes, "I understand."
Mm-hmm.
Right? How does he understand that? We always assumed that they were talking about Richard and Linda, the kids or something. How would he understand something from a letter in a motel room? Very bizarre.
Very bizarre.
You're right. So that closes out Ben's story. Okay. That's very bizarre. And then we go back to the power lines. Let's see here. And then we get, let's see. Oh, then we get the truck that was abandoned on the side of the road, the one that Andy was meeting the guy about, right? Do you think? Was it Chad's? Not Chad. It was, but that whole thing with how the truck was borrowed, and I don't know. There was a truck on the side of the road. I don't know. I'm going to look over that again. And we get woods and the smoke, and then
I thought it was Doppelkoop's black truck.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I kept thinking about because that scene or that shot looked a lot like when Andy was waiting on the side of the road for that guy.
That's what I thought. I thought that was Billy's truck.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Billy's truck.
It was just Coop's truck, so he parked at Jackrabbit Palace.
Right.
What? Okay.
Oh yeah. Say thank you, Hal.
Right.
I'm trying to think of Billy's truck here. But yeah, so the doppelganger's at Jackrabbit's Palace. Again, there's the skipping in the time and the vortex, and he disappears, and like Lynch loves to do, the wind starts howling and picking up through this whole thing.
There was a beautiful shot of the woods in there, man, with the pond and the smoke coming out and the trees. It was like bluish. That was really nice shot.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, so then we're presumably in the White Lodge again with Major Briggs' floating head and Cooper's face over on the left side there.
And a caged is like caged.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't belong there because he went to the White Lodge, and they rejected him. They put him back. It's like, you can't stay here.
Now, see, when the doppelganger was in this moment, that was reminding me again of the opening scene when Cooper's talking to the giant or the fireman, whatever. And he says, it is in our house now. I thought maybe they were referencing that, but again, maybe you're right. Maybe like we were talking about this afternoon, maybe it is just kind of an ongoing conversation that moves backwards and forwards in time. So maybe the giant was referring to that, but that happened at another time,
or it just all happened simultaneously in one big circular loop of it's like, I don't know, like that infinity, like where the Owl Cave sign turned into the infinity, and then the dot moves around. It's like, okay, we're here, but it's an infinity loop. It's all happening simultaneously.
Right. And then it moved over again.
Right. Because now we're here at this bit, but it's all still all part of this infinity loop. It's like, I don't know. So when he says it's in our house, it could have been at that moment, Doppelkoop's in that caged bit, and then they ejected him. But at that moment, it could have all been happening simultaneously.
Joey in the chat says, Hal, you nailed it. The infinity loop.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And some let me see here. Somebody says Elaine says Diane says in the car, "Kiss me," because this could all change.
Right, because whenever you interrupt that flow, it's going to change things. It's that butterfly effect. You stomp on the butterfly in the past, it's going to change everything in the future.
Right. Okay, so the doppelganger's in there, and then all of a sudden they deposit him outside the sheriff's station. So is this really? I mean, is this White Lodge on the side of trying to help people or trying to?
Well, it's like things have to be there in order to not throw the universe completely out of sync. And the more you interrupt it, the more it kind of has to catch up with itself, and things still have to happen, but it's still changed.
Well, because what's his name? He's got to fulfill his destiny, right? So they got to put him there.
Yeah, because Cooper knew of Freddy. You're Freddy.
Yeah,
you have to be here at this point.
Okay, stop for a second. My brain is obviously fried from tonight's episode. How the hell did Cooper know about Freddy? Remind me about this.
Because he has to know about him. Because it has to happen that way.
Did he ever get mentioned to a Freddy before?
No, but like I said, I think these time things are happening all at once. So, you know, the what was it called? The past dictates the future. So, you know,
I think
the future dictates the past.
I think he got a lot of information while sitting in that Black Lodge for 25 years.
Probably,
of course.
Yeah.
Because the giveaway is when he's looking through the curtains and sees the doppelganger driving down the road. That says to me that he had access to the outside world in terms of peering out.
Yeah, and who knows what else the fireman was telling him, because the fireman's the one that gave Freddy his destiny.
That's what I was going to ask. Was it? Yeah, because Freddy was telling James that someone appeared to him. Was it the fireman?
Yeah, he mentioned him by name, yeah.
Was it Mike? Okay.
He got sucked in. Freddie got sucked into the vortex, and that's where he was told to go get the glove by the fireman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they deposit him outside the sheriff's station.
I love this shit.
And Naito is just like freaking out, of course. And then we get the shot from the trailer of Andy with the picnic basket.
Yep.
Right. And I remember at the time when I saw that teaser, I looked at the station wagon and with the picnic basket, and I said, "Oh, Andy's working with the Meals on Wheels because that's the same car that Laura was using to Fire Walk with Me."
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I guess he's just having a picnic. Okay, where are we? This from this moment through I don't know how long. It's at least 20 minutes or so.
Like
I was like this. I was so shaking with tension. The moment the doppelganger just starts cruising up to Andy so confidently, like he's just going to kill everybody at this place.
Yeah, and they're all like, "Agent Cooper." It's like, not really.
No, of course not. Yeah, very intense stuff here. Let's see here. So the doppelganger meets Lucy and Frank, and it's just the tension in this thing is so incredible. I mean, listen, I don't want to say I forgive missteps or something like that, because I can't even at this moment say what are missteps with this, because I haven't really fully processed it yet. But over these last 18 hours, there is so many great individual scenes in this series that even if I am very disappointed with like aspects of parts of it, the parts are still fantastic, and there's too much good stuff in these 18 hours to just completely dismiss this as a complete waste of time or something if you didn't like the ending of it.
No doubt about it.
So, but this whole scene, listen, we talked for almost 5 hours this afternoon about the countdown to the finale, talking about the show, what we kind of want to see, what we don't want to see, predictions, that type of things, which are always wrong. There's no way, none of us ever expected what was going to transpire over the next 20 minutes of this show or the rest of this episode. These episodes.
The only thing we came close to is that Freddy was going to play a role in
the jail.
Was obvious, yeah.
And of course, me maintaining from the very beginning, even before this series came out, Laura will be alive at the end of this series.
Yeah, you got that. Yeah.
Well, and Julie Cruz.
Hey, Julie Cruz at the Roadhouse. Yeah.
Well, she kind of scared people earlier this week by saying, "Oh, I'm not in the finale," And so like they're like, oh, did he cut her out? No, there was an episode before the finale.
Right.
Relax. Okay, so but the thing is, it wasn't just the fact that it's the doppelgangers in the police station and it's all intense. It's the fact that they kept cutting back to Naito doing the monkey. Oh my lord, it's just so intense. And then it cuts to zombie or whatever going. It's just like, right, and then we find out that Chad has got a key.
That's shoe.
Right.
Like, get smart.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes out and he gets a gun and he comes back and Andy, of course, shows up because Andy gets his vision of Lucy. Now, what was that vision? It seemed like that's what they didn't want to happen, right? It almost seemed like because what that vision was didn't happen. Lucy took initiative and shot the doppelganger, right? Whereas the vision seems like Andy, like a tragedy happens and Andy's trying to protect Lucy.
Yeah, it just looked like he was guiding her into the room, and then when it happened in a whole different way. So I didn't really understand that bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, he comes out with the gun, Chad, and he points at Andy who's down there, and all of a sudden you can just feel it. Freddy's getting that glove on. He's gonna just punch through the. So obviously, when a character like Freddy has that much power and he allows himself to stay in jail, that's what you call control. Because he could have punched his way out at any second.
True. Well, he knew his destiny.
Yeah.
He was waiting for it. He was waiting for Bob's head in a rock.
Well, no, I honestly, I've been thinking that because the woodsmen were crushing people's heads, I thought he was going to be killing woodsmen.
Me too.
And especially since the woodsmen all show up in a few minutes, I thought Freddy was going to have to. It was going to be a full-on fight in there. So he takes out Chad. I don't know if he kills him or knocks him out, whatever. It looked pretty fatal to me.
He slammed the door and Chad got hit by the door and the door knocked him out.
I know, but that was a massive hit. And I've seen movies where people get hit less than that and they're dead. So
yeah.
Seems like every time Freddy hits somebody or something, it's the end of them. Anyway, so oh my God, when Cooper calls and Lucy gets that call that he's on his way and realizes that it's very much like, again, another Sam Raimi movie, A Simple Plan, remember? Where like they think I don't know, someone from the government is there to help them find the plane with the money, and it's actually the spoilers, the other criminal that's there to find the money, and then the police show up and it's a big tension-filled thing. Yeah.
That was a great movie. Billy Bob Thornton was great in that.
Fantastic. I loved it. They even found a way to have the Twin Peaks welcome sign as Cooper drives by.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Moment. Yeah.
That was great. So the doppelganger is going to pull out this gun, and then Frank pulls out a gun, and then it looks like Frank's hat gets hit or something, or a wind or something. So the doppelganger, I can't remember. Did he get off a shot, or did Lucy's bullet go through the doppelganger and then whiz past Truman?
I think the doppelganger got off a shot and it winged Sheriff Truman's hat as Lucy was shooting him.
That's what I think.
Well, I certainly did not see that coming. Lucy doing that. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Great move, though. Great move. And then the nightmare, of course, is he's shot, and we all know what happens when the doppelganger gets shot, right?
The woodsmen appear.
The woodsmen show up, and this time they have like an audience. Cooper shows up, and Cole and Albert and Tammy show up, and James and Freddie and Naito were there, and it's like
you were there, and you were there, and you were there. It's back to the Wizard.
Exactly. Even Hawks is there. And he's like, "Don't touch the body." He's like, oh, "That's not Cooper." No. And then the woodsmen pull Bob. No, they don't. They kind of do the blood thing, and then they leave, and then Bob comes out again. So I guess Bob never left him, right?
I guess not. It looked like they pulled him out originally, but maybe he just emerged, and then this time he emerged again, Well,
he kind of emerged to kind of look at Ray and smile at him, and then they tucked him back in. Now he's like, he's out. And Yeah, people in the chat were saying like, "Oh, is this going to be something at the Twin Peaks Festival where people are going to be able to do whack-a-mole with the bob? Like, have a bob bubble come at you and you got to smack it around
with the green fist."
I got to tell you, there was 1 or 2 times in this scene I thought Freddy's dead. When the moment Bob started attacking him, I was like, "He's gone."
I thought so too.
And they kept getting up, and wow, that was intense.
That was great the way they did the Frank Silva footage too. Even the sound effects, with them going. Yeah,
that
was excellent.
Yeah,
and they gave him they brought back the line from Fire Walk with Me. I'll
catch you with my death bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or is that from the show? I'm sorry.
No, that was in the international pilot ending.
That's right.
And then they reformatted it for the Dream episode in part 2 or episode 2 of the original series. Yeah, and then he finally just punches the ball into the ground, and the fire comes out, and so it was. Listen, I never expected this scene to happen, but it's so like unpredictable that I was loving every second because it's so crazy.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us could have predicted this.
Yeah,
but we all knew that Lynch wasn't going to do sort of a Dune big fight scene, out there in Snoqualmie, North Bend area. So, but no, I thought it was great. It was weird. It was really weird, but it was very cool.
Yeah, that was Lynch's version of a action scene,
Yeah.
No, we got
fight showdown.
Well, we got Lynch's version. No, Lynch's version is Paul Atreides versus Sting at the end of Dune.
Right.
Well, no, it's the Russian guy gunning down.
That was fantastic. That scene is the buildup of that.
It's amazing.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
And the chat's going to correct us. It's a Polish guy, Polish accountant.
Excuse me.
No, I love that whole scene from the moment it's like, well, who's pulling up now, all the way to that crane shot of him putting the gun down and having his hands up with the FBI moving in. Great, stunning set piece.
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote down in my notes, how does Cooper know Freddy? I have no clue, but apparently he knows him. I love the fact that he pulls out the Alcave ring, puts on the doppelganger. Great. So it was confirmed. They hid it under the pillow so the nurse or whoever didn't see it, and then took it back when he had pockets. We had speculated that maybe because of this whole is it future, is it past, that maybe him slipping the Alcave ring in the hospital room would have played a role with the missing pieces of Annie in the hospital, with the nurse taking the ring, that type of thing. But obviously that didn't happen. I love the cutaway to the Mitchum brothers and having Robert Knepper saying, "This is one for the grandkids."
That was great.
That was great. And then Cooper goes over to Frank and says, "I need the Great Northern Key, 315." So I'm presumably that key also opened up the basement door. Was that it? Probably.
Well, that's where he went,
right? I guess if you had a room at the Great Northern, maybe you could have access. Maybe it's the laundry room down there.
But wait, wasn't there when did Cooper say we live inside a dream? And then
and then his face got superimposed for the next few minutes. That's where the timelines were merging or something.
20 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
When did that actually happen? I think it was when he walked in to the to watching the
that was before Bob got destroyed, right?
What? That he said what? That we live inside a dream?
Yeah.
No, it was after that, right before he saw Naito and Naito became Diane.
And that's when his face becomes like juxtaposed on the screen.
Yeah, for a long time.
He sits there for 20 minutes.
It's a long time, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know. I was gonna say that maybe everything past this scene is not reality, but at the same time, though, I don't know. It definitely this is what sparked the whole going back in time into Fire Walk with Me and stuff. But we're going to get into that in a second.
But I think it's important.
It is. From that, the moment that appears to the moment it ends is an important, whether time is overlapping at that point or what.
For him to leave that
those are clues to,
yeah,
timelines or something.
Absolutely.
And he's just he shows up at the police station and makes his, hey, everybody, I'm here. I got to go. So Naito's face becomes the Red Room, and then she becomes Diane again. And then he starts like kissing Diane. And at this moment, I'm like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that Diane reveals that they'd kissed before, but it doesn't seem like at the time of the original series that they were in a relationship at all, because the fact that he's talking to Diane about how he wants to make love to a woman that he had genuine affection for and all that. He's not going to say that to somebody he's dating.
Right.
So, anyway,
and he was also was haunted by, the memory of Caroline, when he shoots at the firing range. It's that still haunts him. So if he was that embroiled in a relationship with Diane, why would that still be haunting him?
I forgot about that.
And he's so in love with Annie that he tells her a joke about penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're not going to be in love with Diane and trying to, Cooper's not that kind of guy to
have two or three things going on at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down Cooper's face superimposed. That, I mean, obviously that means something, and we'll get there eventually. Probably 6 months from now, we'll figure out what all that's about. Cooper touches Naito's hand. Naito's face becomes, comes the Red Room. Diane appears. She kisses Cooper. Okay, they look at the clock. It's 2:53.
And it kept going back and forth, like between 2:52, 2:53. It was like stuck in time.
Stuck in a time loop.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's when he says, "We live inside a dream." And then he says, "I hope I see every one of you again." So Cooper seems to know he's going places. I've been places.
Well, things are going to change at that moment when he walks through that room. Things will change. So he hopes he sees them again, but there's a good chance he won't, because everything's going to change. Okay,
so then it cuts to Cooper, Diane, and Gordon walking to the door. This shocked me. It really did. Out of all the things in these episodes, this was one of the shocking things. I'm like, why is Gordon coming down the hallway with him? Why is Diane coming down the hallway with him? To the point where he has to turn and says, "Please don't follow me down this door," which of course is going to echo into the Richard and Linda letter later. But they get to the ringing sound where James was earlier, and obviously the sound that's echoing through the Great Northern. He says, "Yeah, don't try to follow me." And he says, "I'll see you all at the curtain call or something."
Curtain call, yeah.
And that made me think, uh-oh, are we going to break the fourth wall? And by the end of this series, everyone's going to come out and take a bow or something? I don't know. But
I just thought of the red curtains too, where it's like curtain call.
Okay, so he walks in, he closes the door. What do we get then? The trailer shot from the first teaser with him emerging out of the darkness.
Yep.
And this obviously answers us, because we kept thinking, is this Cooper? Is this the doppelganger trying to impersonate Cooper? That never happened. The doppelganger never tried to. I thought we were going to get a moment in the series where both of them had their hair cut with the suit and they wouldn't know which one was which, but that never happened. So he meets up with the one-armed man who, this is something we talked about this afternoon. Is the Fire Walk With Me poem going to come back? And it did.
Yeah, it did.
And if you watched it with the subtitles,
it was Chance, Chants.
It is Chants. It is definitely that, which is hilarious to me, because in this book from 1990, let's see if I can get this here. It says one chance. It says one chance heart.
Yeah.
As the official transcript of
one chance heart between two worlds. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fire the proofreader.
But I always thought it was one chance out. Like, you have one chance to get out, or it could be one chance. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, according to this, it is Chants now.
Yeah.
But then again, they've been playing around with that kind of stuff, changing Philip Jeffries' line too. So who knows? Okay. They walk down the hallway, and then they're going up the stairs of the convenience store. We get the other shot from the teasers of the moving shot, crazy shot going, of the staircase.
Yeah.
And then we get the jumpy man at the bottom. His nose seemingly
where he like runs past.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His nose is super long now. He's like Pinocchio or something.
Yeah.
And Cooper's at the motel, goes to Jeffrey's room, and he reminds Philip Jeffrey of the day that Jeffrey showed up, February 23rd, 1989. Now, what's interesting about this is, let me think. How did they do this?
Even Jeffries was like, remind me of what date it was, because he's so outside of the time thing too. It's like you have to pinpoint where you're talking about now. Because
I actually thought that maybe Jeffries was trying to make sure that it was Coop.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to tell me maybe. Yeah. Which iteration of Cooper are you? Maybe.
Exactly. That's what I kind of interpreted it as.
Yeah.
All right. So here we have an issue here, because I'm going to pull out my Twin Peaks nerd cap here.
Uh-oh.
He says...
I think we all have one of those.
Right. Well, this is going to get pretty nerdy in a second here. Thank you all for joining us in the chat, because this is going to get really nerdy in a second. He says, February 23rd, 1989. Okay?
Right.
Okay. In the Fire Walk With Me movie, Cooper says, Gordon, it's 10:10 a.m. on February 23rd. Now, one of the reasons why they shortened that sequence is because Philip Jeffries, David Bowie in the scene, says 1989. And in the original screenplay, Laura Palmer is walking down the sidewalk to go to Donna's house. It then cuts to the FBI office where the whole Philip Jeffries thing happened, right? Laura dies on February 24th, 1989. Here's the thing. They changed it when it came to post-production of Fire Walk With Me, and they had Philip Jeffries happen in 1988. Because after the Jeffries scene, Cooper goes to Deer Meadow, reports to Diane, and then it says 1 year later. So for them to confirm February 23rd, 1989, they're going off the screenplay of Fire Walk With Me, not the finished film. And again, it's that's fascinating.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
And I don't think it's a continuity error either. Because if we are kind of going back and forth in time and all this stuff, yeah.
But I'm thinking it's Lynch saying, I'm going to do what I want. You're giving me this opportunity, I'm doing what I want.
But what I'm saying is Frost, who dots his I's and crosses the T's, would have... I mean, does Lynch really care if it says 1988 or 1989? Probably not. So for Frost to let that go...
Didn't Frost write the book?
What book?
The book that came before this.
Right, but that's like purposeful misconduct.
But he like blew some things in that too, right?
Right, but the point of that was it was like it was changed dates, seeming like it was protecting people, as opposed to continuity being screwed up just because they were careless.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't continuity errors. It was purposeful to make it different. And as we saw as the series unfolded, there's a purpose to that. We just aren't sure exactly why or what it's for.
I don't trust Frost.
All right. Anyway, so let's where are we here? We are now getting to my just favorite section of the first episode or part. You talk about the alcove symbol, right? And it becomes the infinity, and then it becomes like an 8, right?
No, I think it stayed infinity, but it had that dot on it, so it's like okay, we're here, but then it's here, but it's all part of that loop,
right? Let's see here.
It's like what did they call it in Lost Highway? The mathematical term for it goes around, but it's changed as it goes around. What was that?
I'm sure somebody in the chat will say.
You know the phrase I'm talking about. It was a shit. Lynch would always talk about when he would describe Lost Highway in the chat shows and stuff, he would say it was a mathematical term.
Wait, wasn't that
it was a.
No, I know. I know. I'm sorry. My brain is just so.
I know, mine too. But you know what I'm talking about, right? So maybe
the psychogenic fugue.
Exactly. It's
nope.
It's like a fugue. It's like a fugue. It's the same thing, but it's like, well, I guess it's not a mathematical, but it's a musical term. Yeah. A fugue it's a theme, but then it changes and then it comes back. It's the same theme, but different.
Right.
Okay. State.
Good band from the 50s, I think, called the Fugues.
That's the Fugs.
Oh, the Fugues.
Was it the Fugues? F-U-G-S. But this fugue is F-U-G-U-E.
F-U-G-U-E-S.
Yeah.
The Fugues.
Well, some people in the chat are saying F-U-C-K. So, but we got a mention of Judy again, and we all thought that we would get more of that, right? But that didn't happen. But this is the part where I just started jumping up and down and screaming like a crazy person. When Cooper arrives literally in Firewalk with me.
Yeah.
This is when I knew. I turned to my wife and I said, they're going to do exactly what I thought they were going to do, which was reverse it. And so Laura never died.
Mm-hmm.
I was losing my mind when that happened.
Oh, I was going crazy.
I was losing.
And I couldn't believe that they did a really good job matching Cheryl Lee with that wig today.
They did. That's right.
With the footage back then. They did a really great job with that. I think the black and white footage kind of helps. But yeah, no, it's totally cool. I love the fact that they did the thing with her screaming with James and that being Cooper in the distance. That is so great.
Yeah.
That is okay. That's fantastic. But here's the interesting thing. I was curious to see what they were going to leave in or leave out. They left in Donna.
Yeah.
Interesting. And they left in Bobby killed a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something's going to come back in season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because Cooper overheard Bobby killed a guy.
Right. I mean, we were all saying that has to come back and haunt Bobby on some level because James knows he killed him too, right? Because Laura told James.
But he didn't believe it. He's like, Bobby didn't kill anybody.
But still, if it comes up, James could corroborate that, yes, Laura told me he killed a guy.
Right. Then they cut to the traffic light, but from a different perspective, and now we hear the crackling electricity and all that. And ever since the electricity things in this series, it makes me double think all those traffic light shots in the original series and stuff like that.
Well, and that's the iconic Sparkwood in 21 too.
Right. And you notice that like while this was happening, it kept jumping colors. Like it kept like it went, I don't know which colors it was, but it was like jumping different colors when she was like on the bike and all that. Cause like time is going to be screwed with at any second here.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to be, I don't know where he was when he was driving up Lewis Fork in the pilot episode.
No, it was black and white the whole time.
It was black and white the whole time. I could have sworn it was changing colors.
No, it changed.
It changed into color at some point.
It did, and I'm trying to remember when.
Was it when he grabbed her hand for the first time?
No, I think I can't remember who it was, but they focused on someone when it changed into color. But no, it was black and white for like the whole Fire Walk with Me like footage.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go back, but I could have sworn maybe there's something wrong with the streaming, but it wasn't like jumping colors like really extreme colors. It was just kind of going a little bit here there. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it. Showtime three times in these 2 hours stopped the buffer, and then like a second it picked back up. But I was like, ah!
Oh man, it was smooth for me. You must be in California where it's like everybody's watching
Listen,
at the same time.
I don't care if you're a smooth criminal over there. How I want to know, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? And there is no, there was no mention of Blackburn in this whole thing. So, okay.
Didn't Kyle MacLachlan promise we were going to
Yes.
get an answer to How's Annie?
Yes.
Maybe he meant season 4.
Well, or maybe we know, but we don't know yet.
Well, and I don't want to be the conspiracists out there, but there are people out there that have said that maybe they already shot some things for a season 4.
Yeah, so maybe Kyle was like, "Yeah, we'll get an answer to that." Oops, I didn't know they weren't going to show it in the first 18 hours. It's in the back 9.
Right. So Laura runs into the woods, and this, I gotta tell you, this is just profoundly amazing and moving to me. This whole section, having what looks like outtakes from Fire Walk with Me of Jacques and Leo and Ronette staying there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is brilliant because they're waiting. And I kept thinking, I mean, obviously they didn't know they were going to do this. Otherwise they probably would have shot this. But I kept thinking, are they going to get in the car and drive off? And like, cause Laura never shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do that because obviously they would have had to shoot that back in 1992. But having Laura sitting down and then Cooper appearing and Cooper holds out his hand. And when he holds out his hand, it then cuts to Laura Palmer dead on the beach by the rock or the log or whatever it is. And she disappears. And I was like, this is it. This is amazing. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is everything I wanted. And with the destruction of Bob, I thought maybe if they destroyed Bob, maybe they were going to do away so Leland was never taken over by Bob, because you can't just have Laura live because Bob's still in Leland, right? You have to kind of take care of the whole thing. But still, baby steps. And when they bring up the Laura theme and she says, "Where are we going?" And he says, "Home."
Home.
I lost it.
Yep.
I lost it. I was just like, this is going to have one hell of an ending. I didn't realize what was about to happen later. But
wouldn't have been satisfying if they would have ended it, we're going home and then cut to Jack Nance and Catherine and gone fishing, and then it just ends with Jack Nance fishing.
It's pretty cool.
That would be
the end.
That would be beautiful, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions in there, because there's the time paradox thing. Because if Laura never died, Cooper never would have come to town. So then Cooper never would have been stuck in the Black Lodge, and then he couldn't have ever helped Laura. Blah 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 blah.
But leave us thinking of those things instead of what they left us with. Makes us think of too many damn things.
But see, at the same time, when you start dealing with time,
right?
Yeah,
like you can do anything you want.
Right.
So I mean, it just. I don't know. It just messes with you no matter what.
But I said to my wife, she's like, how can they do this? And I said, if you had the power of time travel, you'd stop a lot of horrible things from happening too.
But you can do anything you want.
Right. It's like that line in the Dead Zone. If you could go back in time and take out Hitler, you would.
Yeah. Weren't we just, didn't somebody bring up in the pre-show video, it's like, how it's too bad he couldn't get Jack Nance in there somehow.
He did.
Yeah.
And when Jack Nance is coming down, walking out, and they did the CGI taking out Laura's body, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now we're gonna get in memory of Jack Nance. This is amazing. How did they pull this off? This is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's great. And then we get Josie in the mirror, which is the iconic first shot of the series.
Yeah. Yep.
After the opening credits, and that's why I thought, okay, why would you show Josie in the mirror? Yes, it's the iconic shot, but to have Josie in the mirror says to me that they were going to imply that Josie was the noise in the Great Northern, because now you're bringing in a character that's never been mentioned again in the entire
or at least
episodes.
At least address the drawer pull aspect, So maybe that's more foreshadowing for another season.
No, I agree, because anytime that noise is around, it's something having to do with the lodges, and she was affected by the lodges because when she died, the little man and Bob showed up on her deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Jack Nance with no Laura there. Oh my god, and with him fishing. Obviously, it's a body double, him fishing, but it's fantastic anyway.
That was so great. Yeah.
All right, so here comes where things get really weird. All of a sudden, it cuts to the Palmer house, and the moaning we've heard throughout the original series is being echoed on the soundtrack. And then, see, look, we had a long shot of the living room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that time was being reversed. So I was looking. I'm probably wrong, but but I was looking to see if the cigarettes were slowly disappearing from the trays. And maybe they were a little bit, maybe not. I don't know. But it seemed like the room was getting a little cleaner. I don't know. And we kept hearing the screams from the pilot episode of Sarah. And then presumably it's her. She comes in like Marietta Fortune and Wild at Heart and starts stabbing Laura's picture.
Stabbing the picture, yeah.
What on earth is that about?
I don't know.
I mean, it's almost like Sarah was also possessed and she was now ticked that time was being reversed, and that would mean that she'd have to go back to just being Sarah Palmer. I don't know. And not Demon Sarah.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me a lot of Wild at Heart when she's like, at the end of Wild at Heart where Laura Dern throws the water on her mom's picture and then the picture disappears. And
yes, you're right.
Right. So then it cuts to Cooper leading Laura through the woods. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is astounding. This is fantastic. And then Laura disappears right after that clicking sound comes into the woods. And then we
sound that he heard coming out of the
phonograph. And then we hear the screaming of Laura that we got from part 2 when she flew up in the air and flew away in the Black Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to Julie Cruz singing The World Spins, which we'd been trying to think, what song is she going to sing? Because we knew it wasn't going to be Rockin' Back Inside Your Heart. I was thinking it probably was going to be Into the Night or something like that. I don't know. But World
Spins makes sense, though, with what we're seeing.
In the context of that, yeah. That was really intense. And I got to tell you, I posted on Twitter after the episode because there was like a second or two in between the two parts. I was like, this is so intense. I'm an emotional wreck right now.
Yeah, I couldn't believe at that point that we'd gotten to that point and there was still an hour left to go. I thought, where are they going to go now?
Yeah. I actually
isn't it great? Back to the Jack Nance scene just for a minute. That the first words spoken in Twin Peaks is "gone fishing." Knowing that Lynch always uses fishing as a metaphor for how he gets ideas. It's like, here we go, gone fishing. It's like all these ideas are going to come forth from that moment.
Right.
Love that.
It was fantastic. It's I was thinking, okay, we got one more hour and he's got to find Laura again. And I don't know. I mean, I was thinking that we were building towards like an ending. I thought maybe he'd get her home. And then maybe the last hour we're going to be dealing with Mother and all that crap, or something like that. But that's not quite what happened.
And Annie too. I really thought Annie was going to be the waitress at that diner he stopped in. When she came out, I thought it was Annie at first. I go, that's Annie, and then it wasn't. And then he's like, "Where's the other waitress?" I go, "Okay, that has to be Annie."
But I was hoping maybe it would be Linda, and that would be the daughter of Cooper and Annie, or something,
Yeah.
So. I want to thank you guys that are tuning in live. We got nearly 400 people now, Hal.
Wow.
There's a lot of people.
Are they all just as confused as we are?
I don't know. I think it's people are. Bill Cole in the chat says season 4 get hype. Yeah. So, I mean, people are kind of, they're mixed. I think a lot of people are I think they're dealing with it now. I think it just comes out of nowhere.
If they're going to do more, they need to announce it right away before people go, I don't give a damn because it's got me so confused that I don't want a season 4. I don't care anymore. If they do it like pretty quickly, like within the next week, and say there's going to be more, I think that'll temper some of this reaction.
Well, for those of you who don't know, we did a huge pre-show before tonight's finale, and we had the executive producer of Twin Peaks on there with us, and
a lot of Sutherland.
Yeah, and
we see her name in the credits every episode.
And there was a few things that we would ask her about, and she just said, why don't you talk to us next week about that?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Lynch and Showtime may not have had discussions yet, and I kind of believe that. But I'm going to be surprised and shocked if we don't get something. Again, it's not going to be an 18-hour thing, but I could see them committing to 6 episodes, or I will commit to 2 features that Showtime will distribute. Because look, Showtime, they need to keep their subscribers. And after tonight's 2-parter, I want to know how many people have already canceled their Showtime subscription.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to.
I mean, they were basking in the glory about all these people signing up, but I look, even if people were happy with the show, there'd be people unsubscribing tonight. But the fact that the show kind of went the direction it did in that last 45 minutes, people were so angry in the chat when I first started this chat up that, while they were doing that, they were already unsubscribing. they're like, I'm not revisiting this crap. Nothing was answered.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now we're going to go to part 18. Chaz, did you want to say anything about, because I know you're out of the room, do you want to say anything about Sarah punching or stabbing the picture, or Cooper losing Laura in the woods with the clicking sound, and then Julie Cruz coming in? Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, because I am baffled as to why Sarah's stabbing the picture.
One thing I threw out is maybe she being possessed by whatever, or having mother inside of her, or whatever it is. Maybe she realizes time is being reversed, and this is setting her into like a rage.
The one thing I noticed during that scene is that, and I'm sorry if you guys talked about it, but nothing was happening to the picture, right? Like, she's stabbing it, but it's just...
Yeah, the glass broke, but it wasn't tearing Laura's image apart at all.
Exactly.
It's like she couldn't penetrate it.
Julia says, I thought she was doing that because the mother's plans had now been duped.
Right. It was like she was thwarted.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. In fact, I kind of compared it to the ending of Wild at Heart when Lula throws the water on her mom's picture, and then the picture disappears. It's like it is kind of fairy tale-ish. So anyway, all right. So this new episode starts up, the last episode, with the doppelganger in the red room, sitting in a chair. And then instead of a seed coming out, just becomes fire. And I thought, okay, well, there's the end of that story.
that was a great first image as that part opened, man. It was just like in the chair on fire.
Right. Then we get something that I didn't think was going to happen to the end of the episode, which was the one-armed man making the new Dougie. And then all of a sudden, Dougie gets sent home to Janie E and Sonny Jim. Which I'm glad that happened, because, Chaz, we were thinking about that maybe the series was going to end with us not knowing who really went back to Janie. Was it Cooper or was it the Tulpa?
Tulpa.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they kind of got that out of the way. Happy ending for them.
I thought it was really cool. Like, I remember mentioning to you that I would have been fine if they didn't show that, because I thought Lynch was just saying, like, hey, this is going to be a happy ending. And they didn't even have to show it again. But then they just gave us that. And then Doppelcoop 3 says home. And I was like, wow. You guys noticed that, right? He just said home. So he might be back to just like what Janie E and Sonny Jim loved about him. Like, his only goal is to like take care of them.
But I think him coming from the good part of Cooper, he's not going to be the womanizing, gambling version of Dougie anymore. Well,
what I mean is, like, there's something about him just saying home that makes you think that he's back to like the infancy of who Dougie was.
Right, he's going to be the naive Dougie still, but it'll have the good qualities of Cooper, not the womanizing, gambling qualities of the other Tulpa.
Exactly.
All right, so then the episode surprised me because this is supposed to be an 18-hour movie. Was the fact that they went back and repeated the footage of Cooper losing Laura in the woods.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. That baffled me too. Why did we go back?
I thought maybe
things got reset, but then the same thing happened again.
Well, I thought that maybe we were going to get a different perspective, maybe Charlene's perspective when she disappeared or something. No, it didn't happen. It was just a replay of the same scene.
Yeah.
I didn't like that too much. It was weird.
But there's got to be a reason for it, you know?
Maybe they messed up in the editing. They didn't realize which part they put it in. Hey, let's be honest here. They've messed up the subtitles a couple times in these episodes already. So you never know. They could have went, oh man, that ended part 17.
Yeah, whoops. Oh, we already put that bit in. I forgot.
Too late for the Blu-ray release. For the Blu-ray. Okay. This is what I really liked. Okay, so they cut back to the Red Room scene, and Cooper's there, and the one-armed man's there, and he's like, you know, is it future? Is it past? Now, in part 2, that is when Laura comes into the room and does her, you know, sitting there and talks to Agent Cooper. But now they dwell on a shot of the empty chair because Laura's not in there anymore. She never dies, so she never got into the lodge. Brilliant. Brilliant. But then we get this. He goes, meets the evolution of the arm again, and he says, is it the story of the little girl who lives down the lane? And I'm thinking, the evolution of the tree has seen that Jodie Foster movie? Like, why are we talking about this?
Well, that's the same line Audrey said, too. Remember?
No.
Audrey says that to Charlie. When he says, you know, I'm going to end your story. She goes, what story is that, Charlie? Is it the story of the little girl who lives down the lane?
What?
Yeah.
I knew there was a reason you were on these shows, Hal. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, I do not remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that puts things in perspective.
That's something to think about, for sure.
So then Laura all of a sudden is there again, or I don't know, it's a flashback. I don't know, but she's whispering in his ear. Still nothing. And that becomes her whispering in his ear in this series is I'm almost thinking it's like Lynch, because Lynch shot that for the international pilot of the original series, and then but they kind of added that into the second season where she says, you know, my father killed me. Right. So this almost seems like a way of Lynch going, I'm not going to reveal what she whispers. That's the eternal question. What did she whisper that was so horrifying in the Black Lodge that made Cooper wince? Mm-hmm. And then they teased it again during the end credits. Like, I mean, to me, it was like it's a beautiful image to have the end credits go on. Mm-hmm. However, I understand there's a lot of people that may see those end credits and think that's a giant middle finger to them investing so much time in this series as well. So,
well, I prefer to think it's a foreshadowing to more.
I agree.
I mean, that would be cool, but his face, the way that his face looks during those end credits, is not of like concern this time.
No, it's different.
Yeah. It's more of frightened.
Yeah. So he finds Leland again, who says, find Laura once again. Poor Ray Wise.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I wanted him.
He's very underused.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a Twin Peaks supporter, wanting the show back, you know, before anybody else was wanting it back. And they go, Ray, you know, I know he said, David Lynch told them, Ray, the town's still there, and even though you're dead, we're going to work around that. Well, they obviously didn't work too much around that. They just gave him 2 words in 18 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it is problematic that, you know, his storyline had pretty much finished.
But wouldn't it have been cool? Wouldn't it have been cool? I'm just throwing this out there. All right, I'm sure people in the chat will be poo-pooing this, but if he sends Cooper on this journey to find Laura, wouldn't it have been cool if maybe Leland was one of the people as well as the one-armed man trying to get through to Dougie so that Dougie would wake up and go find Laura? When it'd be a way for Leland to kind of redeem himself a little bit inside the lodge, you know, Dougie, don't die. Like if they had Leland be one of those people that gave him stuff. I think that would have been great. I honestly do.
Anything with Ray Wise would have been great. I don't know why.
But I think that would have fit. That would have fit narratively with his character as well, because he sent Cooper on that task to go find Laura, and then he became Dougie.
Right. It would have been nice for him to help him on that journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it was in some minor way.
Because you're right. It would have redeemed his character a little bit from inside the lodge. You know, he was doing what he could to redeem himself inside.
I just think that would have, even if it was a small little thing, I think it would have been a nice touch. But all right. Okay. I love the fact
that again, I'm thinking there has to be more. Why do you hire Ray Wise back and then set him in the chair and give him the same line twice and that's it? There has to be more.
So people are asking, of course, the eternal time travel questions. If Laura didn't die, then did Leland, ever abuse her? The answer is yes. They have to stop Bob from entering Leland altogether. Some people are saying that Ray Wise's character was redeemed at the end of episode 16 when he's dying in Cooper's arms. I understand that. I'm talking about giving Ray Wise something to do that would make sense for his character in the Black Lodge.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. All right. Anyway, people are yelling about Leland now in the chat. Okay. I love Cooper exiting Glastonbury into Glastonbury Grove. That was great. Great touch. But it makes me think,
how was Diane there to meet him though at that point?
Yeah, I don't know about
that. Get that either.
But we'll get to that in a second. But all the stuff in and around Rancho Rosa and where Dougie and Jenny live, all those King Arthur references.
And 119 lady, what was that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't mind 119 lady if it was one scene, but they went back quite a few times and with all those red balloons being everywhere.
Red balloons, yeah.
But this is what's going to make this series like Kubrick's 2001 in a way, is where people are going to be until there's something else that comes out, people are going to be arguing about every little dang thing. And if the original series, which wasn't as in retrospect as insane as this current series, and we talked about that for 25 years, I think there's a lot of stuff in this new series that we can get a lot of mileage out of. The King Arthur references, and that was obviously having to do at the end in the season 2 finale when they're talking about Glastonbury Grove and King Arthur and all that stuff. Anyway, so he's there at Glastonbury Grove and Diane's waiting and she says, "Is it you?" And he says, "Yes." And he says, "Is it, are you or whatever like that?" And she's like, "Yes." So, okay, this is really weird. Like what is going on? I almost think that at this point, this isn't reality. I don't know.
Or it's a new reality and they have, it's really hard to fathom.
See, honestly, from that point on. Listen, okay, let me throw this out there. I almost would be even more on board with the rest of this show if it hadn't been Diane and it had been Annie waiting there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cooper and Annie go to the motel and become the Richard and Linda and all that stuff. That would have been great. But obviously we didn't go there. Laura Dern's too big of a star, so she's coming back.
Well, also, I mean, and again, we just saw this, but Naito was in episode 2, right?
3.
Who flipped the switch?
3, yeah.
Episode 3?
Yeah.
So that's Diane. So where does that really fall into play? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me neither.
And why do some tulpas look exactly like their counterparts and other tulpas look completely different?
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm reading the chat and it's people are very confused. as we all are right now. Okay, so Cooper, there's a lot of driving in this episode, I gotta say. Cooper and Diane are driving down the road, and she's like, "Sure, you want to do this?" And he keeps saying, it's 430 miles. Again, another 430 thing. The electricity, the power lines. And I'm sitting there at this moment going, where are they going? What are they doing? I thought almost in a way, like when she says, "Sure, you want to do this," I was thinking, is Cooper gonna like do something suicidal or something that sets off some like, some sort of nuclear explosion or something to wipe out whatever? I don't know.
I thought another vortex was going to show up when he got out of the car.
Yeah, because that led to nowhere, didn't it? I mean,
yeah, he just got back in the car, and then they talked about going through. And then that's when they became like Richard and Linda or something.
Right.
Or she at least went into Linda mode, and he wasn't sure.
And and of course we get that when they pull up to what looks like, it looks like the same motel that him and the doppelganger and Daria were at, but I'm sure it's not, but it looks similar. Mm-hmm. And Diane looks out of the car and sees herself staying next to the pillar.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I gotta tell you, at this point, I'm watching the show, I'm enjoying the show, but at this point, I'm kind of checking out. I'm like, because now we're going into Mulholland Drive Inland Empire territory, right. which to me is it's interesting in terms of the lucid dream type of idea, but it's also like, okay, now we're throwing out all the rules and we're just going to do whatever the hell we want to do. And
right, it's just pure abstraction at that point with no explanation. So your brain is overloaded at that point.
Well, and at the same point, we're heading towards what seems like an ending, and then it just seems like Lynch kind of gets to the next page and goes, "Yeah, I'm bored with that now. I'm just going to now do this over here." And it's like, well, I was emotionally invested in where we were going, and now you're telling me something's completely different. And
mm-hmm.
Again, it'll probably, now that I know what's happening, or where we're going to be going this series, on the rewatch it will be different. But I'm talking about the initial watch. I'm sitting there like, are we going to get back on track? What is going on around here? And especially when they go into the motel room. That
when Diane sees herself, I was very confused at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is she seeing?
And why is her hair red now?
I don't know.
Her hair changed color?
Well, and we'll get to this in a second, but the car changes too.
The car changes?
Yeah, when Cooper comes out of the motel the next morning, that's a different car.
Oh, wow, I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice it either until my wife said, "That's a different car." And I said, "Why?" She's like, "The seats are different colors."
Oh, shit. Lynch just killing us.
Yeah. I listen, I'm gonna say one negative thing, okay? I understand maybe the context of it because of Richard and Linda. I don't like the motel scene. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was too much Lost Highway when I was in Twin Peaks.
The sex scene was a little long too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we didn't need to see Diane riding him for that long.
It's just purpose. Chaz loves all this stuff, but
no. I loved it because Laura Dern's nipples are exactly the same as in Wild at Heart, and that was
they haven't changed in 30 years.
They haven't changed, and I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, her breasts still stand up and say hello. So
yeah,
that's a line. That's a line from Wild at Heart, guys. Relax.
Right.
But no, I didn't like it. I mean, like, listen, is it well done? Is it well made? Is it well? Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just like, look. When I watch Blue Velvet, I want to see Blue Velvet. When I see Twin Peaks, I want to be in Twin Peaks world. This is not Twin Peaks world. This is Inland Empire, Lost Highway world at this moment. Yes. And that's where I get a little turned off from it. Because I'm like, listen, if we were building to this moment, I get it. But now it seems like Lynch and Frost are like, okay, we've taken the story to its natural conclusion. We don't know if there's going to be a season 4, but we need to at least establish something so that if we do come back, we'll have somewhere to go, because we can't have just Laura go home, because that means we'd have to come up with, a brand new start. So this is the way you can do it. You can start planting the seeds in the last half hour for a continuation of some sort, whether it be book, movie, another series, limited series, whatever. I think that's what they're doing at this point. I'm just saying that.
But the Richard and Linda stuff was planted right from the first moment of episode 1.
Right.
So it's like that has to be more than just, oh, let's throw something at the end.
And I adore Laura Dern. I love her as an actress, right? And I you know, she's very good when she works with David Lynch. No problems here. But her character, except for the last part and when she was first introduced and they go to the prison, for the most part, her character was sort of one note through the whole thing. It was pretty much like F you, F you, F you. And then we got the great stuff at the beginning with her and the great stuff at the end with her. So in a way, a lot of people aren't really emotionally invested in Diane, especially this new version of Diane, because all we know is the Tulpa. So for how do we get emotionally invested in a character that we don't really know yet? And now she's Linda and not Diane. So there's no real grounding. We're doing this whole Patricia Arquette Lost Highway thing. If I'm Renee and Alice and blah, 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 blah. And that's what we don't
even understand the nature of their real relationship.
Right. You know, that is what I'm getting at. We don't have a grounding for us to have them pull the rug out from us, because the rug's already pulled out from us, and now they're taking the earth away from us. And we don't know where the hell we are. And the fact that we had 40 plus minutes to go, again, it's like, how much can you stand before you're like, I'm out? Right? Okay. So anyway, but Cooper wakes up. They have that sex scene. She's grabbing him by the face. Obviously, that's very important, right? This whole thing of who are we and those stuff reminds me a lot of Inland Empire. But she's crying, and then next morning,
very similar. There's an exact same scene in Inland Empire.
Yeah.
So,
anyway. And it's weird because that sort of mirrors that. Remember when Doppelkoop kills that guy that was working on the car and he rubs his face like that?
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. It's like she's rubbing him out or something.
Right. Rice in the comments says, this season is to Cooper what Fire Walk With Me was to Laura. Interesting. Okay, so Cooper wakes up in bed, and it looks like Diana was never there. Like, it just seems like that whole thing was like a dream or something, because there's no evidence that she was even there to begin with. But he gets the letter saying, "Dear Richard, please don't try to find me, etc. Linda." All right. So I'm sitting there at the time going, what is going on? And
right. And we know it couldn't be Diane because she would have signed it F you.
Pretty much. Yeah. So Cooper gets into what presumably is a different car. Very weird.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And then he's driving around, a lot of driving. I don't know where he is at this point. You know, like what are we looking for? What are we doing? It just seems like seems to go into like another like parallel dimension or something like that. And he's just cruising the landscape. But he comes across Judy's coffee shop. And he walks in, and of course, Francesca Eastwood is there. What's her name? Christy? I think so. I don't know. Could be wrong. And she's being harassed by 3 cowboys. A lot of women being harassed in this series by men in restaurants, don't you think? I mean, we had the Sarah Palmer one in the bar, and obviously the Richard Horn thing at the Roadhouse, and
with his own grandmother.
Oh yeah. Let's try to forget that scene.
Yeah.
But this is a really bizarre moment. Like, my wife was like, this is after the scene was over, she's like, that was a really good scene. And I was like, it is, but what is the context of this whole thing? All of a sudden, like, Cooper like takes out these 3 guys and starts, you might want to back away. I don't know if the Friar's gonna launch the bullets or something like that. I'm like,
yeah, that was a weird bit. Why would he throw the guns in the Friar without taking bullets out if it would endanger other citizens that were innocent, like the fry cook?
Well, you know, look, some people are saying, is that really Cooper? Because he doesn't seem quite himself through this section.
You're right. He doesn't. No, and if he's somehow Richard, but Thinks he's Cooper or something. Who knows?
But also when he's walking through this diner in or around Odessa, Texas, I guess it is, there are electrical sounds where he's like walking around and stuff like that. So maybe he's got the power of the electricity or whatever it is. But I love the fact that, again, we get another what the hell. One of the cowboys says, what the hell just happened? And I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. What the hell is happening? I'm looking at the clock going, we have 25 minutes till the end of the series. What is going on right now? Why is Cooper in some Texas diner having some coffee, beating up cowboys?
That just happens to be called Judy, just to confuse us even more.
Right.
Judy's diner.
Right. I'm surprised. It should have been Winkies. It should have just... Okay, so...
Pops, like the one from the 50s.
Right, so he gets the address to this other waitress, Carrie Page. Interesting, considering that Charlie tells Audrey he's going to end her story, and this woman's name is Paige.
Was it Carrie or Karen?
Carrie.
Oh, it's Karen. Carrie? Okay.
Carrie.
Okay.
So he pulls up to this woman's house, and
Carrie Page, like a page from her diary.
Yeah, exactly. We have another phone pole with 6 on it.
Yeah,
interesting.
Now is that the third one, because they showed 3
yes.
poles in Andy's vision of the firemen?
Well, yeah, because we had the one in Fire Walk with Me.
Yes.
The one outside the Double R Diner, and this is the third one.
Okay, so there was 3 as shown to Andy by the fireman.
Right.
666, man.
And now I have no idea. I just write numbers down because this thing's all numbers. But her address was 1516. Weird. Anyway, so he knocks on the door, and Cheryl Lee answers the door, and her name's Carrie Page, and he's like, "You're not Laura Palmer? Do you know your dad Leland or your mother Sarah?" No. And he's like, "Listen, I want to take you somewhere. I think you know." And I love when she says, "Normally I'd slam the door, but I have to get out of Dodge." And we presumably think maybe she's being harassed by a boyfriend or husband or something like that. But nope, she's got a body in the house.
Yeah, and it looked like a suicide. It looks like he blew his own head off, or somebody blew. Well, he had a splatter of blood behind him, so he either shot himself or somebody else shot him.
I thought that she shot him.
Maybe
because she's saying I have to get out of Dodge.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought too.
But why wouldn't Cooper, an FBI agent, react to that? Why would he just go, "Oh, okay"?
Because it's Laura Palmer, and he's got to set things right.
I'm still going with what you're saying. Something's off with Coop at this point.
Yeah.
Something's off with the narrative structure of the series at this point. I don't know what the hell's going on.
You know something I just realized, because you were talking about the numbers 15, 16, and I started thinking about numbers. It's like, remember the number of the room above the convenience store was 8, like the Infinity 8.
Right.
What?
That's true. The room that that Jeffries was staying in.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yoshi Shimi says Carrie Page equals Carrie the page of the diary. The last page of the diary, which there's more than just that one page that needs to be found. Or they already have like 5 for the page. I can't remember, but there's like 7 pages missing, and Hawk was completely lying. Anyway,
you got your nerd hat on again.
Listen, we are doing a Twin Peaks after show. If I can't break out my nerd hat now,
yeah,
I'm with you, man.
All right,
I got my nerd hat and my nerd underwear
and
on.
I guarantee you that people tune in to these podcasts because we have our nerd hats on.
Exactly.
Okay. I love the fact when he's standing in the living room and he looks, and there's the horse on the mantle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
And that's when he goes, "I'm in the right place." Pretty much. Here's another scene that was in all the teasers. Cooper driving at night, looking at the rearview mirror with the car following him.
Yeah.
That was in all of them. Pretty much.
That was the most horrible. Like the lights in the back, you just didn't see any movement at all.
Okay, so this scene is so well done, and it's so paranoid. But I'm thinking to myself, why is he paranoid? I mean, is he thinking that the past is trying to catch up to them and take them both out, or what? Because it's not like I would understand the paranoia if the doppelganger was still out there and they were both racing to get to this Carrie, and maybe he got to Carrie first, and they're trying to get to Twin Peaks and do whatever they're going to do, and he's worrying the doppelganger's following them. There's a reason to be paranoid. Look, the scene by itself is great because he's paranoid, but why is he paranoid?
And nobody was following him, right?
No,
that car just goes away. It just passes by.
But he is so intense on it.
Really?
But maybe
vibe. I didn't think he was paranoid at all. I just thought he was
okay.
He kept looking in the rearview mirror.
Okay, people are saying that he's paranoid that Mother is following them. Mother's not driving a car, though, is she?
I just thought he was just, looking at it and,
Yeah, but you don't put those headlights so close and so obvious that there's somebody right behind him and he keeps looking in the mirror over and over again. If you don't
I'm actually they're doing the replay right now and it's on right now and I'm watching
that scene's on right now.
Yeah. And he doesn't look paranoid. He's just kind of looking to be like, hey, is this happening?
Well, I felt paranoia. I was like, he just kept glancing and they kept cutting back and forth.
Well, of course he's gonna glance, but and then he just swung around the double R.
Okay, let's see where we are here. Then they stop at this gas station and then they get back in the car and they're still driving. My wife was like, what was the point of this gas station scene? I'm like, because they're building the tension. Yeah. But this driving scene is okay. Listen, I can understand people saying it went on way too long. It's not a lot happened. I get it.
Yeah.
But
the equivalent of sweeping the floor on the old guy at the bank.
But what I'm saying though is, as an equivalent of those moments, it was really good because it made me kept checking the clock, going, "Yeah, we only have 12 minutes left. What the hell are we doing driving like this?"
And it put you in that otherworldly space too, because you're just going. All of a sudden, you're just driving, and it was.
And I kept waiting for the electricity field to come back or something, where to show that they had crossed back, but that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's almost like that scene in Back to the Future 2, where it's like Biff went back and gave himself the sports almanac. Now we have an alternate 1985, and that's the kind of the vibe I get. So they go past the Double R Diner. Again, you have the rewatch. Check the. Let me know if you see this. Some people are suggesting the Double R Diner does not say double does not say it. If that's true, let us know, Chaz. That would be amazing.
That'd be a clue to what year is it. It's before that.
Right. Okay, so I thought that if they were going to be doing that, I thought maybe they would drive by the Great Northern Hotel as well. I thought that we would see like a lot of the locations, maybe the sawmill was back.
That'd be cool.
That type of thing. But no, they get to Laura's house, and then we get another shot from the teasers, which was the shaky shot from the car looking at Laura's house. That was one of the first teasers as well. All right, so they get out of the car, and Cooper takes her by the hand again. Now he's leading her up the stairs, and they knock on the door, and I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure the woman who answers the door is the real owner of the house.
Ah, really?
In real life.
Interesting.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but when they shot the scene, the real owners are the ones that open the door.
That'd be nice for her to have that cameo.
Hey, listen, if that is true, she did a really good job.
Yeah, and she deserves to be able to be in the show.
Well, from what I understand, she's really lovely because she lets people come into her house all the time and get pictures.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Come on. It's one thing to get a picture of the outside of the house. It's a whole other thing when you see like Twin Peaks fans like able to like take pictures on the staircase with the fan and all that.
Ceiling fan, yeah.
That's great.
And she doesn't charge them or anything, She could She could charge $15 to come in and take a picture of the
Well, remember
cemetery.
before the new owners bought the house, when it was up for sale, people wanted to raise money to buy it and turn it into a Twin Peaks museum.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this lady has never heard of Sarah Palmer. And they ask who owned the house before, and she says Mrs. Chalfont. And that's when I went, oh crap.
Mhm.
Me too.
I was like, where are we going with this? This is scary.
As soon as they said, you know, who was the previous owner, I thought Chalfont or Tremont, and then they did it, and I'm like, bingo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guessed it. Yeah,
I thought they were gonna say Judy. Something like that. But yeah, and then he says, who owned it before her? Nobody knows. What's your name? Alice Tremont.
Tremont. Yeah.
Tremont, yeah.
Yep.
And that's what triggered Coop to say, what year is it at that point?
No,
Maybe
nope,
no?
nope,
Okay.
no. They walk away then, and then they stop in the middle of the street. And Cooper turns around and says, what year is this? And I'm trying to figure out, what did he look at for him to think that?
But that's what I'm thinking is the name. Did he meet the Tremonts or the Chalfonts?
No. Okay. So in Fire Walk with Me, Harry Dean Stanton tells him about
Carl Rod mentions him, yeah.
Chalfonts. And then with the Tremons, Donna is the one that brought Cooper to meet the Tremons, and they met that other lady at the door, not the Tremons. And then that's when the lady goes, Donna, you know, Laura's diary pages, you know, or this was mailed to you. So that's one of the other diary pages that is not accounted for, that I've made a video about in the past. So
two Tremons, two Chalfonts. Weird, huh?
Weird, yeah. But yeah, so I don't know what he was looking at for him to say what year is this. I mean, it would have been cool if like they showed that we were in the 70s or something like that, but or
I was thinking that, you know, maybe that was a younger version of Mrs. Tremont, you know, and
right.
And so that's what made him go, what year is this?
Right. And then it seems like Carrie realizes at this point like who she really is, because it seems like Laura comes back to some sort of consciousness, and she screams. Now again, this comes from the TMZ leak. Even before that, people saw this scene completely shot, and then they were there when she screamed. So it's just unbelievable. They shot the final scene of the whole thing in front of people, and when fans would contact me and say, "What do you think they would show that to us?" And I was like, "There's no way they would shoot the final scene of the series in front of all you guys." They did.
What was that scene that you had sort of leaked? Did that come about? What
no,
was that?
Never did.
Okay.
The scene that I had heard is that Cooper is in the woods and comes across James's bike in the woods, as if James had been whisked away by the vortex. And then there was another moment where Cooper was supposed to have a white face, like Wyndham Earle had his white face at the end of the second season when he looks at Leo.
So that was complete misinformation.
Or maybe it was shot and they didn't use it.
Or maybe it's season 4.
Or maybe season 4. I have no idea. But what I'm saying though is that those couple things, which obviously didn't happen in the series, was enough to have some people contact me. So I don't know. I have no idea. And they weren't mean or anything. They just said, please don't say certain things about stuff. And I was like, oh my God, did I really say something about the show? Well, apparently I didn't. So anyway, no harm, no foul. So Laura screams, or Carrie screams, but it's Laura. And then all of a sudden it's like the house, all the lights, you know?
Yeah.
It's so intense. And then it goes black. And I knew, as we all did, this is how they're going to end it.
Roll credits. Starring Cal McLaughlin.
Not quite. It fades up to Laura whispering in Cooper's ear.
That's right.
And what's fascinating about this is it almost ends, I mean, differently, but similarly to Fire Walk with Me. Once again, Cooper and Laura are together, stranded at a time. And And again, I mentioned my wife a lot, but she was the one watching with me, and she said to me, God, it's like you try to change the past, and when you do that, you screw up everything else. So in a way, my theory of like Laura coming back alive obviously proved true, but now they're really into this idea of, well, if you're going to do that, there's going to be consequences to your actions. It can't just be Laura comes back and all is right in the world. Maybe the Lynch of 1990 would have done that, but not the Lynch that has gone on to do Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and Inland Empire. That's not, I don't think that Lynch quite exists anymore.
Yeah. Try as you might to write things, there's always going to be wrong.
But again, even though it is kind of a shocking ending, and I really do like the ending, because like I just said, it's the fact that Cooper and Laura are together, but just again stranded together. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a cool thing. I just want them to take it somewhere now. I don't care what that is. I don't care if it's 3 episodes, a standalone movie, something. I'd like them to continue it in some way. Not that I want everything to like right the ship, but I would just like to see, where would you take the story? Where would you go from this? You know,
right?
So,
and why introduce that couple from the 50s, the young girl with the frog moth or whatever it is, frog locust? Why introduce that if that doesn't lead anywhere?
Well, Hal, have you watched a David Lynch movie before?
Yeah, but I mean,
I agree.
I want to see more. It's not
I do. I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that the frog moth thing is I thought it would come back even just as a reference, like when I was a young girl, you know.
Yeah.
And I almost think when Sarah is in her convenience store, that she almost makes a reference, not necessarily that, but saying that things that happened to her in the past and that type of thing. So who knows what she's referring to?
Don't you wish that the trucker guy that she ripped his throat out would have been Leo Johnson? That would have been perfect.
Ah, nice.
Leo's still in the woods, man.
I know, but if his character, you know, whether they got Eric DeRay to do it or not, but just I mean, that would have fit in though.
Well, they had Eric DeRay show up in the outtake footage.
Yeah,
that's great. You know, God, there are so many like leftover things. I mean, we don't know anything about what happened with Becky. We don't know anything about Red. Not that we should really care, but it was something that they invested time into.
We don't know why Gersten was important to have a role and Donna wasn't.
Right.
Just
go ahead.
The rewatch was on in the background, and at the end, when Cooper asks what year it is, he does this very strange like motion, like he goes like this, and then says, "What year is it?" And it almost looks like Cheryl Lee's eyes are like going backwards. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
The whole thing's weird.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, another dynamic. But again, just
now that we know where it's going, you can pick up those subtleties on the rewatch.
Indicative of the fact that this is just right after we watched it, you know, kind of.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
And we have 500 people watching us live right now. So.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you very much for watching. All right, so there is our initial reactions. Let's go to the chat real quick, take some final questions.
Can't wait to hear what everybody else is saying.
You Are the Creator says, I know less about this show than ever before. Oh, yes. Thank you, Leonard, for bringing this up. When they show Laura Palmer's house after they're outside, we hear the line of Sarah saying Laura when she opens up Laura's bedroom on the day that she didn't come home. I didn't go down the stairs for breakfast when she at the beginning of the pilot. So that's what echoes.
Oh, really? We hear her where she's going, Laura.
Right.
Laura. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Donnie says we never learned how Annie is.
No, we did not.
We don't.
They keep saying in the chat, Audrey never met Mr. C. Well, yeah, she was in a coma. George
And
says,
now we have How's Annie and How's Audrey.
Yeah. Let's see here. George says this whole thing triggered Laura's memory, a memory she wanted to forget. Dan O'Mano says, normally I go for Lynch's dark and ambiguous endings, but I thought this series of Twin Peaks needed a more conclusive, happier ending. But again, it is kind of a happy ending in a way, because Laura is alive. She's with Cooper, who can protect her, and he's not Dougie. I mean, if it had ended as Carrie Page and Dougie outside Laura's house, maybe I'd be a little more concerned. But he can, they can protect each other. So, let's see. Matthew, thank you, Matthew, for bringing this up. He loves the idea that Cooper was able to walk through the red room in the hallway and be able to shutter the curtains. That was kind of a nice touch. I forgot to mention that. Jen says, sorry guys, it's going a little fast here. Let's see here. Alternative Nation says Audrey's reaction was breaking the fourth wall. That is Sherilyn Fenn's reaction of watching the finale.
That was that theory somebody else was saying earlier today.
Naratu Online News says, I want to be a Cheeto after this finale. Will you eat me, Hal?
Only if you're the hot and spicy flavor.
Yeah. Let's see here. Stephen Clark says Annie probably died that night from being in the hospital. I don't know. Did we get any? I don't think we got any confirmation about that. Trust me, I have my ears perked for any Annie news. People are trying to figure out what the heck was the doppelganger trying to do. Joe says not only was the car different, but Coop came out of a different motel. That's true. He did.
What?
Yeah.
The motel was different too from when he went in to when he came out.
I don't know. Yeah. Dan Olson confirms different car and motel in the morning after Richard and Linda.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Yeah. Good.
That changes a lot.
Yeah. Look. I understand that they could stop this now, and it is what it is. But Chaz, honestly, if you were a betting person, this isn't the end of Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah. So I wonder if Cooper was living inside someone else's dream during that sex scene with Diane.
I don't know. Chaz, you were saying?
No, I agree. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, Lynch would be happy with it being over, but he might do it again.
I don't think he's going to do 18 hours though. But
no.
Steve Owens says saving Laura means Cooper never came to Twin Peaks and never becomes Mr. C.
But
that's true.
But Hal, what you were saying is that happened after Coop said we live inside a dream, right? And it's superimposed.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is just like telling you everything you're about to see is like a tangent. This is like what you want, but you're not getting it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe there's so many alternate timelines going on that it's all one big ball of confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cause says the Double R Diner does not have the RR to go when they re-enter town.
Wow.
Well,
Good catch.
When they come up, I rewatched it. It says Double R Cafe.
Right. Jan keeps saying season 1 and season 2 never happened. Oh, I think they did. It's just
whoa. That would be crazy.
Well, I mean, if Laura never dies, right, then that's true. But
or just different things happen, like Mark Frost's book. Different things happen to the same people.
Right.
But they also happen the other way too. It all happens. It's all simultaneous.
People are saying that Kyle will win the Emmy. You think that's still a possibility?
I think if people just see it as an acting job, but I think there's probably a lot of negative reaction to the show, so some of the voters may think.
That's what I'm saying. If it had like a really conclusive ending of some sort, then maybe yes. I would say definitely yes. But now, it all depends. I want to check Twitter and see the amazing extreme reactions.
That actually brings up something that I wanted to bring up earlier. When they went back to Fire Walk with Me, I mean, Cheryl Lee, man, I mean, she should have been nominated for an Oscar for that role, and she is still fantastic. I mean, even though she barely got much, but I mean, she was so great in these last 2 episodes. I still think she should have been nominated for Fire Walk with Me.
Cheryl Lee is to David Lynch what Molly Ringwald was to John Hughes. I mean, I like her as an actress, but she really excels when she's working with Lynch. People are saying like, well, how did they shoot that scene with Laura Palmer in the past meeting Dale Cooper? It's very easy. It's called black and white, and they put a wig on her.
Yeah,
it's not footage they shot for Fire Walk with Me. Some people are thinking they shot that during Fire Walk with Me and then use that for the new series. No, that is Cheryl Lee modern day, just made up very well to look like.
They shot it from a distance, so you didn't get the age difference too much.
But she was so great, even in her new role as whatever Paige.
Carrie Page.
Yeah.
Carrie Page.
Because that was her version of doing a Dougie kind of thing. She had to do a different character.
So apparently they're saying in the chat that Julie Cruz is very mad about something. What is she mad about? How?
I can see that. First of all, she didn't get the introduction by the Acorn guy, which is, like the prestige introduction. She didn't get a full song, and they were rolling credits over her.
They roll credits over all the music.
Yeah, but after they give, they play 3/4 of the song unobstructed, but her whole thing was pretty obstructed, don't you think? I mean, they gave her half a song, and 3/4 of the half was obstructed by credits.
Julia's saying, go to Julie Cruz's Facebook page. Can somebody just go to the Facebook page and just let us know in the chat? Because if I open up another tab, I don't want to.
I'll do it.
Jan says, Julie's saying my favorite song, but they cut it short. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think it's just the amount of screen time she was probably upset about it. I was kind of for her, so that's what I'm assuming would have been upsetting to her.
Everybody's fucking pissed off nowadays.
But why?
Okay. This is what it says. George says, here's what she says. I'm
done, and I can care less about TP. Yeah.
My subconscious.
My subconscious never lies. I have my answer now of what I will do with the rest of my life.
There it is. Wow.
Great.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, I think she was excited because the previous post was, I'm going to be on TV. And it was a picture of Betty Davis as Baby Jane. Like she was all excited. I'm going to be on TV.
Steve Owen says she sounds drunk.
Probably.
That post will probably be gone by morning.
When you talk about Julie Cruz, what do you talk about? Twin Peaks.
Well, to be fair, there is was a Floating in the Sky and Industrial Symphony and Blue Velvet.
Right. How long ago was that?
Long time ago.
Right. So Julie Cruz is being talked about right now because Twin Peaks came back 25 years later.
The picture she posted underneath her post is her with sunglasses on. She's kind of hiding her face like I'm embarrassed.
And look, I mean, I love Julie Cruz. I own her albums. I've got them on vinyl. But to the masses, Twin Peaks is Julie Cruz.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh for her to go. I could care less about TP. It gave you your career.
Yeah, I mean, goodbye.
So people are saying, sorry, I went so fast, that introducing Beverly's husband, having the girl with the rashes and all that stuff, that they probably wouldn't include all that stuff if they weren't thinking about having open threads for another something. Probably.
Yeah, seems like it.
Maybe.
Joseph says, my expectations were subverted. I'm angry. I'm a little confused by the last whatever it was, 30 minutes, whatever. However, I have to say that doing these initial reactions really helps, because talking with you guys, listening to people in the chat, if it was just being me by myself, I probably would be like, really happy, like I said, with the first 2/3, and then going, but the more I talk it out, the more I, hear different people's theories. Now I want to go back and rewatch those last 30 minutes and see, because I know where we're going to. So I'm not thinking, get to it. I can now kind of relax into the moment, knowing we'll get there eventually, and this is where we're going. So now I'm going to be looking for details.
And that's been true of all these episodes. So, that's been true. And even more so in these last ones. Yeah.
Completely. Let's see here. Jamie Michelle says, let us have our anger. I'm telling you.
Everyone's reactions are valid. I just think you should ponder it a bit more
hang on
before
again.
you get angry.
Hang on again. Yeah. Alexander says, Julie Cruz writes, I don't like David Lynch and Sabrina Sutherland's attitude toward me, and I will never work for the Emperor again. Thank God. Now, a lot of people in the chat are also saying, well, she's gone all Michael J. Anderson on us.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's the feeling.
That's way intense.
It is.
Philip says this show, there's nothing to be confused by it. This show was shit, pure and simple.
Wow.
There it is.
Here we go. Here's more Julie Cruz. Some guy goes, we love you. Don't go away. And she goes, thank you. But now I can finally get off the grid. Listen to music, dance with my dogs, make my home, our home, and dreams like this now in my life are wonderful. Really, I don't feel up to it. I don't like how I'm treated. Not by you guys, my Facebook friends. I don't like the David Lynch, Sabrina Sutherland attitude toward me, and I will never work for the Emperor again. Thank God.
Wow. That's shocking.
Yeah, but take it with a grain of salt right now. You have no idea what that actually means. I mean, look at Sherilyn, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Joe comes in with a statement that is going to probably make you excited, Chaz. He writes, during the Cooper and Diane sex scene, it's the same music from the Part 8 radio station. I thought she was going to crack his head open.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was just looking at.
Chad, sorry. I was thinking about you yesterday. My wife and I went to our local fair, and the fair is at the Monterey Fairgrounds, which of course is where they shot Monterey Pop. And so I took pictures of the stage for you, and then I also got in the art exhibit, people were posting their original Polaroids of the Mamas and the Papas and Jimi Hendrix that nobody had ever published before, and I grabbed you pictures of those as well.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, thank you, Cameron.
So I will send those to you later tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. Let's see here. It says some people are saying that Lynch is becoming a little bit more aggressive on the set, which I understand. If you watch the Inland Empire making of, he's like cursing up a storm on that thing. DE says, since Kyle told us of a resolution with Andy, they must have filmed something. I don't know, but I just need just some words, but
you love Annie.
No, I do. Because I love the underdog. People just have been crapping on her forever. And then Lynch put her in Laura Palmer's bed and told everyone to chill out. Let's see here.
Some guy on Julie Cruz's page says, I'm certain there was footage of at least one entire song performed live by you and that band. How rude to use only a snippet of it and then put in the recording of that song with horrible editing. Is this the way it plays out? We are just as disappointed as you. So here's to you. And she goes, oh, thank you. It's not about the sloppy stuff. It's a lot you don't know.
Jonathan says, I got huge shivers when Laura screamed. Profoundly disturbing ending. Cheryl Lee is haunting.
Yeah, again, I think Cheryl Lee is so... I really wish she was able to do more. Like, did you guys see the what's the Kurt Vonnegut movie she did? Mother Night.
Right.
With
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. She was fantastic in that movie. And I always wanted Cheryl Lee to do more, but I guess that's the way it goes.
And I even thought she was underused in Vampires. Like I really wanted to like her in that movie, and I felt like her.
Yeah.
That was not a role that was written with Cheryl Lee in mind. Otherwise, I think it would have been a better written role.
Yeah.
But she's great in Backbeat. If you guys ever see Backbeat.
Oh, yeah, Backbeat's fantastic. You know me, I'm a Beatles fan, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, she was great.
Julia says if Laura never died, then Cooper never met Annie. That's fine. But acknowledge that. Don't. That's all I'm saying.
One more Julie Cruz, and then I'll stop.
Okay.
Some guy goes, "I was so happy to see you, and yet heartbroken to get so little. You're as much Twin Peaks as any original cast member. It was a disappointing experience after a season of long musical acts to only get a few seconds of you. By far the most disappointing part of the entire finale." And Julie Cruz responds, He did it to slap me in the face.
Wow. Well, okay. I honestly didn't even notice that I thought her song wasn't really a Roadhouse performance. I thought it was a mood piece to close out the credits.
A transition piece.
Yeah. That's what I took it as. I didn't take it as a slap. It didn't feel like a slap. Now, if they had cut to the Roadhouse and then it went right to credits, maybe, but it didn't feel that way at all to me like that.
I can see that it is, though. I mean, think about behind the scenes stuff. I mean, all these people were given, and some got repeat performances, almost full length songs, and she got short shrift in comparison, as important as she was to the music of the Roadhouse in the original series. And if there was some fighting, like maybe she was asking for more money, like Michael J. Anderson, maybe he goes, well, I'll replace Michael J. Anderson, but I've shot her in the Roadhouse and it is so important. I'm going to use it, but I'm going to truncate it just to piss her off.
Or, maybe she didn't get paid for it. Maybe it was like, well, maybe they got it as a sort of, when you use a song in a movie, you have a contract as to how long the song is played.
Yes.
So maybe instead of paying her for the 4-minute version, they paid her for the 1.5-minute version.
And then if she recorded it live, but then they decided to go with the pre-recorded already existing studio track, that could have paid her less.
Possibly.
Because it's not an original.
Well, let's be honest here. The show did not have $100 million budget. So.
Right. It's on a low budget, but yet I can see from her point of view, she was important to the show.
Enter a name here. He says on the chat, maybe Julie Cruz just needs a Snickers bar.
Needs some Cheetos.
Reggie comes in with the snake bite here. Julie Cruz is just jealous of Krista Bell.
Oh, snap. There it is.
Wow.
I don't buy into this stuff, especially what you're reading online, man.
Well, because it's not a gossip writer. It's from
It's Julie Cruz saying it. Yeah,
maybe.
Well, it's her official site.
Well,
we'll see. Maybe tomorrow those posts will be gone. So, George says it was he says the song dissolved beautifully into that scene. I agree. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was great. When she showed up, I was like, this is beautiful. There's Julie Cruz. I expected it.
I expected it to be longer, but then I thought, well, maybe they just needed to cut it because they had so much content. But I did think, wow, that's really short. I really expected her to have a bit more showcase.
So, well, especially since Chromatics and Au Revoir Simone both had 2 songs in the
2 songs, yeah.
Right, and Rebecca Del Rio had like 9-minute song.
Yeah, and Eddie Vedder.
And Eddie Vedder had the full length, yeah.
So maybe that's where the budget went because.
And they didn't even say Julie Cruz. They didn't even mention her name.
Well, she was in the credits. Oh, you mean like the Roadhouse Presents?
Right. She deserved that. She deserved an intro, right?
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know.
I
mean, Julie Cruz in the Roadhouse is iconic, and
absolutely. Matter of fact, during that scene, I thought that the fireman was going to show up.
Yeah, he should have shown up and went. It is not happening again for Julie. It is not happening again.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, Charles Manano says they could have just shown Cooper holding Laura's hand in the woods one time, and that would have allowed the extra Julie Cruz song to play.
Right.
More time.
Try to get her on the show, Cameron.
We've talked before. She and I have talked before about being on the show, but she has said to me, I'm not really interested in coming on and talking David Lynch and Twin Peaks, but I would be happy to talk about like other stuff. And I said, well, how about like entertainment news? And she was like, oh, that'd be a lot of fun. You really want to hear my opinions? I said, yeah, I'd love to hear about why you think, Ben Affleck should play Batman.
Yeah, but you may catch her in a mood right now.
Yeah. I should just send her a link to this chat.
Yeah, hop on. We're live. You got something to say? We're all checking your Facebook page. We'd like to hear more.
Exactly. Oh, God.
Why are you so upset? We're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't believe it's actually like, unless she's wicked drunk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Really, because I bet she did her scenes and she was anticipating and probably told her friends and family and then she tuned in and saw the final result and was bummed out. I can see that.
Okay, Hal, we're gonna send her that. We're gonna send it to her.
Yeah, do it.
So Hal, here's what I'm gonna ask you to do, just because I'm in the middle of doing all this stuff. Can I send you? Can I send you the link and have you just send it to her?
Will she? I mean, it's weird coming from somebody she doesn't know. Or I'll just say, Cameron wanted me to forward this to you.
Yeah, but I mean, we've talked before, but we're not like talking every day. You know what I mean? Okay. So she's probably needs to be reminded who we are. Just let her know we're doing the live show. We're talking about it. We're talking about her postings, and we're doing the live show. We'd really appreciate if you hopped on, and since you're in the mood to talk about it, come on and air it.
All right. Yeah.
So that would be great. Okay, let me resend you the link here, and I really doubt she's going to, but
yeah, it's a long shot.
Listen. The luck we've had today with people coming on our chats, it could happen, and that would be amazing. I once invited Michael J. Anderson onto one of these things, and he actually got back to me. He's like, I don't think you really want to hear me talk. I said, yes, I really do want to hear you talk. So thank you, Hal. I appreciate it. And you can make it sound really nice and sweet.
Weird. Anyway,
people also want you to invite Michael J. Anderson right now too.
Dude, seriously, do it. Ask him how he feels about the arm.
Oh yeah, yeah. That would be hilarious.
I'm still confused about the arm, by the way.
Belljar Girl says Julie Cruz deserves the best. Yeah, we don't wish anybody ill. I was surprised that Hawk didn't have a lot to do in these last two episodes. I agree, Tonya.
That's a good point. I thought Hawk was going to be like legit. Like Hawk, I thought he was going to kill Doppelkoop or something.
Yeah.
But there you go. I mean, Kimmy kills Doppelkoop.
That's fine. And you know what? Andy really wasn't ultimately that important, huh? Even though he went to the White Lodge with the giant, got all those visions.
I guess so.
It didn't really protect him from, because he saw the picture of the doppelganger and Cooper being two different people, and yet he mistakenly saw the doppelganger as Cooper.
Yeah.
So,
because he says, how does he? Oh, when Doppelkoop denies the coffee, that's when he knows.
George says Andy protected Diane or Nido. I guess, but did he really? Just stuck her in a holding cell.
All right, I sent it off to her.
Thank you.
She jumps on.
Yeah, we'll see. She probably won't, but you never know.
Yeah.
Charles Manano says, "Is your big wrapped Laura in plastic? Is that non-existent?"
What's that mean?
I have no
poster.
idea.
Maybe it's that poster I had in that one episode.
Rumblebone says David Bowie's a steam kettle is an Emmy Award.
Steam kettle. It's a teapot. It's a steam kettle. Poor Bowie.
Joey says, now this makes sense as to why Who Do You Think This Is There got changed.
What?
I don't know. I mean, I know why it got changed, but why does it make sense now? I mean, it doesn't. It's like,
it's just one word, this to that, right? Who do you think this is there? Who do you think that is there?
right. They're saying it's a percolator.
I heard that too.
It means Cooper changed the timeline so Laura's dead body won't be there. Yeah, obviously. Oh, H, you're great. Pulling out the Lost Boys quote. The one thing about living in Twin Peaks I never could stomach, all the damn doppelgangers. You mean tulpas. There's tulpas everywhere in this damn series. It got to the point where I thought Annie Blackburn was going to turn into a fembot, like at the beginning of Austin Powers 2.
Tulpas, woodsman, they're
Right.
everywhere.
Oh, that's it. Chaz, so when we had Sabrina on the show earlier today, she confirmed that Jurgen Prochnow in Fire Walk with Me is a woodsman.
What?
Yeah, it's the origin of the woodsman. I always said that. I mean, I know it, that woodsman could have been the log lady's husband, but
I thought he was just a woodsman, not like these.
Not one of the woodsmen.
Origin.
Yeah, these woodsmen look like they're straight out of Mary Poppins Steppin' Time, at the end of the movie.
Covered in soot. Yeah. Why isn't Jurgen Prochnow covered in soot?
And why is he wearing that horrible beard, that fake beard?
That's awesome. Man, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, but she did confirm he's the same entity as those other guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're all like dumbfounded.
Pretty much.
Voltaire says, do you guys think all the Dougie crap was worth it after this finale? I liked all the Dougie stuff. I
had a good time watching the Dougie. It's like Lost. People that hated the Lost finale, they were like, you wasted 5 years of my life. I'm like, but the whole ride was good, I mean, even if you didn't like the last episode, I liked all the episodes up till then, most of them anyway, I mean, it was a fun ride. So yeah, I think even if I said I hated this last episode, which I did not, but even if I did, it wouldn't undermine the fun ride I've had all summer,
Yeah. I never watched Lost, so I don't know. But
it had a very divisive finale, so
But I love that. But you know what? A lot of finales like that after years are going to be divisive. But this was 3 months and shot as one movie. It wasn't a series, so fan reaction had nothing to do with which way they took the story.
No, but you could say this is a culmination of 25 plus years of series, and if it's going to end this way, that could anger you because of the anticipation of waiting all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'll just go back to, if you know Lynch, if you really know Lynch, you should never be expecting anything.
Right, and I don't think that the events of this series undo or negate the original series at all. I think it just adds layers to it. It doesn't undo it.
But let's be perfectly honest here. This new series is not Twin Peaks season 1 or season 2. It's entirely a different thing.
Yeah, it's its own animal. It just takes place in that world.
It takes place in its world, and it's 25 years later. But
yeah,
it's not. I mean, it's you can't say it's this. It doesn't have the same vibe. It's a different thing.
Sure.
But Fire Walk with Me had a different vibe too.
For sure.
So I think every time they come back to it, they take it in new directions with a different vibe, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I always liked, I saw Lynch on with Jay Leno one time, and he described Fire Walk with Me as a jazz version of the series, which I thought was a really cool way to put it.
When I interviewed James Marshall, he said he felt that Fire Walk with Me was a series of Laura Palmer vignettes that were stitched together. Not even because if you watch the show, there's so much that happened during that week of Laura Palmer's life that the movie never even tries to go near.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the day she dies, she did a English tutoring lesson with Josie,
Mm-hmm.
and that's never even discussed at all. So, and I think that, and to me, I've always said that's been a huge missed opportunity in Fire Walk with Me. That I would have loved to have seen a moment of Laura Palmer going to tutor Josie, and during the tutoring session, her looking at Josie, Laura knowing knowing herself as well as she does, looking at Josie and realizing Josie is just as much of a fucked up bitch as she is, and be able to look Josie in the eye and be like, "You're not fooling anyone." Like, that would be so great.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of miss things like that. Like, I love Firewalking what we get. I just miss what we could have had more of, or, you know, that's all.
If they go on, would you like to see a totally different style or the same style as this season, or would you like to see more flashbacks, or what would be your preference for a continuation?
Okay, well, you kind of have to tell the new storyline, but you need a I wouldn't say fan service, but there's some things we want to see. I want to see the Pearl Lake stuff with Leland Palmer as a young boy. I want to see that.
And that would allow him to cast new young people and stuff too, which it seems like they're into doing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to follow that for a whole episode, but it would be nice to have a flashback of that or something.
It's sad that we would get no more Gordon and Albert together, though.
That's true. And it's kind of weird how Albert ends just kind of standing in the room with the sheriff's station and with all those groups of people. And that's the closure of him. How
are we going to explain Albert if they do go forward, you know?
Or, well, you know, I mean, Tammy's there. So,
yeah. Well, and if timelines shift things, all of a sudden Albert could be non-existent.
Just to chime in, I want the exact same thing. I want everything that Lynch does to be what he does. There's no reason. You know, I think people are so critical about what he does because of how intricate it is. So you can dissect it all the time. But we're experiencing something that's been done by probably the greatest American filmmaker ever. And so we all need to really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, he's a master for sure.
Yeah. And he's my favorite. Whatever the fuck that means.
No, I think we're still coming down off what we just watched. So yeah. Eric Folio says he was disappointed by this finale. I mean, let's be honest here. This kind of finale is designed for people to really like it, be confused by it, want to watch it again, check it out, and people are going to hate it. I mean, these are extreme things. There's nobody watches like
But it's so weird because we talked about this the first two episodes, right? Like, anybody who watched the first, half hour, if you were a Lynch fan, you were in, and if you weren't, you were out.
Right.
I really think the only disappointment for me would come with if we get no more. I would be somewhat disappointed. It's
really?
Like kind of. It's like, I just want. It makes me want more. That'd be my only disappointment. Is we're not going to get any more. There's so much I want to explore.
Yeah, but if they had done a sequel to Fire Walk with Me, that would have been, let's say, 1996 or something like that. Another 2-hour, 15-minute movie.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten what?
18 hours.
We got 9 of those movies.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thankful for what we got. This has been great.
Sorry, my brain's a little fried.
If we get no more, I'm not being greedy, but I just want more. I guess that would be. But the only feeling of disappointment is that there's so many avenues left unexplored still.
True. But I do take comfort in the idea that, for 25 years we had to deal with the idea that Cooper and Laura were safely trapped in the Black Lodge while the doppelganger was wreaking havoc out there in the world, and the angels were protecting them. That's what comforted me when I thought about Twin Peaks. Like, okay, well, Firewalk with Me isn't the epic conclusion I wanted, but it's still really good, and at least it has a nice, like, kind of bittersweet ending to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy with so many of the directions of this new series that I can take comfort, even if I'm confused by that last 20 minutes. And like I said, talking with you guys about it and everybody in the chat, it really helps. But I love the idea of thinking of it as Cooper and Laura are still together, displaced by time, but they are together, like they were at the end of Firewalk with Me. And she may scream and that type of thing, but you know, he knows. I mean, obviously, looking the way he took out Ike and the way he took out those Cowboys, I think that they're going to be okay together while they figure out whatever is going to happen. And if we don't see anything else, yeah, I'll be a little upset because I'd like to see a continuation of it. But does that invalidate the entire 18 hours? I don't think so.
Not at all. No.
So, yeah, I mean, of course, I want to see more, but I had to go 20-something years, 27 years or so before I got anything else. So
Yeah,
I'm okay if I got to wait a year or two to see maybe a standalone movie that they put out on Showtime or something. Cause, but I really want to know the Showtime numbers. I want to know if, like, people between now and Wednesday, if there's just like an epic, if Showtime stock just crashes because of all the people unsubscribing.
Yeah.
well, what were the numbers of people watching? I don't think people were really.
No, it's 300,000 watching live, 2 million for an episode with all the streaming and different avenues. So about 2 million people per episode, which I was talking with Hal earlier. That's on a strong show. That's what averages on a CW network episode of, like, Supernatural or something like that. So that's basically what it got. Whereas when you compare it to, like, Game of Thrones numbers, which is getting 16 million people an episode,
Yeah,
it's small potatoes.
Yeah,
but still, it's pretty good for pay cable because CW is basic cable, right?
Right.
I mean, you're having to subscribe to Showtime, and they're still.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow I'm unsubscribing to Showtime until Twin Peaks comes back, if it does.
Yeah, I'll probably rewatch a little bit and then unsubscribe too.
Unless
I hear an announcement for more, and then I might hang in there.
Amateur Video Scholar says, well, Netflix will want them. Well, you know, Netflix offered to do it, and Lynch turned him down because he does not want it dropped all in one day.
Yeah.
Which one?
I thought it was great.
Listen, let's be honest here. No matter how much we really enjoyed this series, if they had done this the Netflix way, the show would have been done, because
right, they would have dropped it May 21st. We would have been done watching it by June 1st, and it would have been over.
Well, not only that, but there'd be no conversation over the whole summer. They managed to keep this conversation moving for 4 months. And that wouldn't have happened on Netflix. I mean, people watch, you know, a season of something on Netflix, Stranger Things or something like that, and within a week, people are done talking about it. They just go, okay, can't wait for the next season. It's like, I don't want to see Twin Peaks. And listen, this series, while I understand people want to binge watch it, I find this impossible to binge watch it because there's so much to dissect in every episode that if you just went from one to the other, you would not catch most of the details.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they did everything right, from the secrecy to the way they promoted it to the you know, rolling it out. I think they did everything perfect.
Yeah, Carlsbad says yes, the series requires reflection. Other people are saying that they probably already have sealed a deal for season 4. Look, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised at all, because when they announced that Blu-ray set and they call it the complete series, and then it was 2 weeks after it came out, they said, oh yeah, by the way, season 3 is coming out. So it's not really the complete series. You guys lied on the Blu-ray set. Right now, listen, we've talked about this many times. I would say season 4 is not happening. Season 4 is not happening. But having dealings with Showtime lately that I have, and the way the series ended, I'm gonna say right now, if they wanted to go ahead and do it, I say the chances are of it coming back in any way, shape, or form is at 85% right now.
Do you think that announcement will come quickly, or do you think we'll get the Blu-ray announcement and then that'll be released and then we'll hear about more? Do you think they'll wait till after Mark Frost's book comes out, or what will be the rollout of any news one way or the other?
I think it will happen before Mark Frost's book comes out, because then they can cross promote and that will get people more excited to buy the book. Because right now I don't see a lot of people interested in buying the book.
Right.
They seem a little angry right now. Maybe in a week they'll feel differently, but right now people seem a little bit angry.
I think, yeah, and I think that would offset some of the anger and some of the, unsubscribing instinct, the instinct to unsubscribe if they would quickly say there's going to be more. I personally would hang in there. I wouldn't, if they said there's going to be more in 2018 or 19, I would probably keep my Showtime subscription just to be supportive of that. If we don't hear anything in a couple of weeks, I'm going to unsubscribe.
That's not a bad deal for Showtime. Say, listen, if you announce you're going to have something else coming up, we'll keep the subscription all the way through. But if you're going to not mention anything, we're out of here.
Right. I'll give you 2 weeks to tell me what's going on, and then I'm out. And then I'll resubscribe once you make the announcement. But if you make it quick and say it's a year from now, I'll hang in there. I'll keep my subscription.
Right. People are saying they pre-ordered the book. You Are the Creator says a concise 3-hour movie could wrap this all up. They could have wrapped this all up in this 2-hour episode. So, Amateur Video Scholar says a lot of people love this episode a lot. Great, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm just saying the messages I'm getting right now, people are very upset. So, and that's fine. I'm sure in a few days they'll feel differently.
There was a lot to love about it, but I understand disappointment too. I understand both aspects. I don't understand anger. I don't understand, you wasted my time. That I don't understand.
Right. No, I agree with that. Leonard says people being crybabies online don't have as much sway over networks as you may think. Cool. Good to know. Let's see here. Garden Gnome says, I see a resolution this ending. Cooper's soul was consumed by Judy. Okay. Yeah, they're all saying that if they Showtime really should announce this soon. People are comparing this to the Sopranos ending. I think it was like that. I kind of like the Sopranos ending either.
Yeah, I did.
I thought it was kind of fun.
I liked it too.
Mr. Smelt says, I want to see the 19-hour movie of Lynch screaming at his actors. Calvin says, I don't understand. They came back to because of the confusing ending of season 2 in terms of the leaving up loose ends, and then they left more loose ends at the end of this.
But maybe Lynch infamously did not want to reveal the killer of Laura, and maybe he just never wants it to end. Maybe that's what Mark Frost means by it's a continuing story. It'll never end. It's the never-ending story.
Yeah. They want you to check your Facebook to see if Julie wrote you back.
Well, I didn't post it on her page. I just private messaged her, and she did not respond. No.
So that's a no. Let's see. People say, will Lynch edit this as an entire movie? No, it's not going to happen. What on earth is that?
What the hell?
What the hell is that?
Frank's either having an explosive bowel movement or something else is going on. Or it's electricity.
Oh, my Lord. People said this show has made me completely let go of my hopes and expectations. People are hopeful for something else. Calvin says, what do we think happened with Audrey? I'll tell you what I think happened. I think the doppelganger having to do something with Diane and Audrey. I think that they were stuck in either lodges or at the convenience store or something. They're stuck in some sort of limbo world, I think. Prankster says, I really don't know what to think, but I do love this. Amateur Video Scholar says I'm working on a 4.5-hour edit of this of the return. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I listen. Was there a lot of filler in this series? Perhaps, but the filler was still so well written and acted and directed that I didn't mind it. Gardnome says Lynch wasted too much time that could have been spent on great characters.
Yeah, you can see it that way. Everybody would have their alternate version of this, but how many scenes did you not enjoy as it played? Was there any time where you went, "Oh, that absolutely sucked," or
the only one that I can think of, and again, I've kind of warmed up a little bit to it, is the original first
Audrey scene,
the first Audrey Charlie scene. I think that was way too much.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue just sounded stilted and it sounded weird all these curse words coming out of her mouth when she doesn't talk like that. It's just,
yeah.
Leonard says, yeah, the filler was never dumb like it is in other shows.
Right.
I agree. Owen says, let's get a Mitchum Brothers spinoff, please. George says he wasn't a big fan of the Audrey stuff.
I mean, like you could, to pare it down to its essentials, you could cut out all the Hutch and Chantel stuff, but I love that stuff.
You could not cut that stuff out. You could cut out maybe a couple of the Dougie coming out of the elevator scenes.
It was so funny because I got into the Cheetos thing with the Chantel. That makes me laugh every time, but I didn't notice the one. I noticed it was on the rewatch today when she's like, when Hutch goes, "Give the boss man a wet one," and she's making out with him, and she goes, "I wish it could be more," and all that stuff. Then he gets ready to go into the truck, and she hands him a pack of Cheetos to send him on his way. I'm like, that. It totally made me crack up because I'd never noticed that before.
Eric says that Michael Onking's absence was felt.
Oh, for sure. So was David Bowie's.
And the fact that we never got an ending to Harry, we didn't get any update about any of that stuff. So
right.
Listen, I don't know about season 4, but there's something happening. There's no way. It's too much.
Yeah, you're right. Because now it's like, how's Annie? How's Harry? How's Audrey?
Right. Wise Guy 100 says they could have easily cut the 5-minute sweeping scene. I actually really liked that scene.
I dug that scene, man. Yeah,
I dug it because it wasn't like he's just sweeping and then
credits. We went into Jean-Michel.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's great.
Hello.
You okay, Frank?
It's not Frank. It's Chaz.
I'm sorry, Chaz. That was quite a clamor in there.
That flatulence you heard earlier was being soda water.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize the mic went that far.
Bell Jar Girl notices that the sex scene between Diane and Coop and Janie and Dougie are similar because they're both riding him on top. So Cooper doesn't like to do any work apparently. Let's see. Now they're screaming at me because I said I liked the sweeping scene. What the hell did that amount to? Because it's awesome.
And it's Lynchian.
Yeah. Because like I said, it wasn't just a sweeping scene then cut away. It was a sweeping scene that led into it's showing the mundaneness of what was going on at the Roadhouse, and then Jean-Michel gets the phone.
And it's just playing with pacing, playing with expectations. That's what Lynch does best.
And a lot of people thought that was Billy, right?
Yeah.
And Billy's not answered. And that also goes into who is the dreamer, right?
Right.
So is a lot of what we've been seeing just like Audrey's dreams?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have theorized that the people at the Roadhouse and the booths were like, nurses at the mental institution that she heard in her coma. Who knows? I really, at this point, don't really care.
I mean, I care because I want to know, but again, when you start dealing with alternate times and different realities, you could do whatever you want, right?
They had 4 years to write this thing, and they knew what they were doing. We've had 2 hours to analyze it. It's
Yeah.
like we can't be. It's overwhelming. You know, you can't be expected
Right.
to sort it all out. You know,
Right.
Well, you know they went back. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
They obviously went back, right? And they studied everything that they did to write this series.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that they knew exactly what they were going to do and make everything in their mind like what it should be. But at the same time, Lynch will give you nothing, you know?
Well, maybe now, but back in the day, I mean, that wasn't true. I mean, he gave us the ending of Wild at Heart, which is one of the greatest, happiest endings ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that.
Well, and he's always said that his films mean something to him, and it's not just random images thrown in there to create confusion. It all has meaning. It all makes sense. It's just whether you can unlock the puzzle or not.
Well, I totally agree. But I mean, Wild at Heart was first of all, it wasn't written by Lynch. It was Gifford.
Oh, okay. All right, Chaz. That ending is not in the book, though.
Oh, okay. But Lynch made a film.
Right.
Twin Peaks has been an ongoing thing. And did Lynch really think that he was going to revisit Twin Peaks? I don't know.
Here's what I think happened. I think that Frost and wanted to, because he's the one that brought this idea to Lynch about, hey, it's gonna be 25 years, and and so Lynch was like, yeah, sure. And so I think they came up with a kind of thing of like, okay, we're gonna have to deal with Cooper and the doppelganger and stuff like that. But Lynch said, okay, what's great is that this plot thread is, because there's not too much of a story there, because you have the beginning part, like I said, with him getting out of the lodge and then him confronting the doppelganger for the ending. But in the middle, there's a whole long stretch of things with Dougie and all that. So that allows Lynch to go, you know what I could do is I could add a little bit of Ronnie Rocket in here, and I could add a little idea I had over here that never materialized. So I think in a way, this was the continuation of Twin Peaks, but it was also a way of Lynch getting a lot of his ideas down that he hasn't been able to get funding for years. And this was a way for him to do it under the Twin Peaks name.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, no.
Because I mean, he tied it into the series proper. So it's not like it felt like it was a different thing. So
that's what I'm saying. I mean, they went back and I mean, look, they put in a 10-minute scene from Fire Walk with Me. They decided that we are going to really research what we've done in the past and make it relevant to this. So I don't think it's nonsense. I don't think anything Lynch does is nonsense. But for
even Dumbland.
Well,
I like Dumbland.
I mean, come on. I mean, Dumbland is. I thought Rabbits was amazing. I saw the whole Rabbit series before it went in.
I did too. Yeah.
Inland Empire.
Yeah.
And when he put it in Inland Empire, it made even more sense to me.
See, it made less sense to me than Inland Empire. I'm like, what's Rabbits doing in there? I'm going to sit down with you, Chaz, and watch Inland Empire, and you're going to explain it to me.
You are more than welcome, man.
I would love to do that.
So people are saying that Harry Goes, who plays Andy, wrote on Julie Cruz's page, "I love you, Julie, XOXO."
Oh, that's
so.
sweet.
And I guess they said that she's logged off or passed out or whatever because she's not answering anybody anymore. So, but anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. We've gone 3 hours, so I think I think we can call it a night for tonight. It's not. We haven't just done a 3-hour show today. We've been on here 8 hours today.
Yes.
So it's time to save our voice and do something else.
I feel like Jerry Lewis. We need to go to the tote board or something. It's the telethon, man.
I know. I feel like we should have been like doing this for like the American Red Cross or something.
Yeah.
We're taking donations now. Okay, so before we go, I just want to say that the summer of David Lynch has come to a close tonight.
Yeah.
It's been a wild, amazing ride. just because it ends tonight doesn't mean the conversations stop. They're going to stop tonight because I'm dead tired. But
right. We take a Labor Day weekend break, we grill out a little bit, and then we start talking again.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys are not subscribed, not to this channel, this is like my streaming channel right now while my streaming is not available on my main site. Go to the main YouTube page, Obnoxious and Anonymous. Subscribe there. Hopefully we'll hit 3,000 tonight. That would be great to hit that number. But also go to this account. This is my VidMe account. This is where all the videos are going to be put up, because sometimes YouTube, for whatever reason, has a problem with Twin Peaks videos going up. They come after me all the time. They don't like it. So anyway, so I'm putting those and a lot of my other videos up on this channel. So if you guys could support this channel as well, that would be great. I'm almost to 500 subscribers on there. So yes, please subscribe to here, and you will be able to have access to those these videos, other videos, and if you subscribe to Obnoxious Anonymous, one day, hopefully soon, I'll have my live stream back. And then we can have these kind of chats with 500 people on a regular basis, talking this show and talking other stuff. So thank you very much for all your support. Really appreciate it. This has just been an insane summer between David Lynch and YouTube being a pain in the butt. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah. This has been a marathon day too. I've had fun doing this, Cameron, so thank you.
Oh my God, I couldn't have done it without you guys.
And sorry for calling you Frank, Chaz. It's just all these identity. Everybody, Richard, Linda, Cooper, Diane. I don't know. I get all the names confused. So. I talked to Frank earlier, so I still had him on the mind.
No worries, Al. And I know I've been on just a few of these, but I really appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun. I want to compliment Cameron on his manicured fingers.
What?
And
manicured fingers.
Yeah, they look fantastic when you put your
No, I'm one of those old-fashioned biters.
I was gonna say, let me take a closer look. I thought maybe you had a Diana-cure, you know, all these different colors.
I'm trying to shoot a compliment here. But no, it's been great, and I again, I'll just say it one more time. I've said it before, but we are so fortunate to have had this. And people want to nitpick and go crazy over the show. We got Twin Peaks season 3, directed 18 episodes by David Lynch. Fucking hell.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a wild time, and it's now time to go and sleep.
Yeah, I'm out. Well, hey,
it is time to be
you're 3 hours earlier than Hal and I, man.
And Cameron, yeah, but Cameron's got to stay up and download and upload.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And it's like 100 degrees inside this room right now, so I'm like sweating like a pig over here, and I'm dying. I'm starving, and I don't want to eat on camera, so I have all this food staring at me, and just anyway. But yeah, thank you guys for watching these videos and subscribing and all your love and support over the last few years, and especially over the summer. It's been great meeting so many of you guys online and having you guys be part of the family with all of us. So yeah, we'll see you soon. Take it easy, and in the meantime, have a great life. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.